chair arm to Teague. Another turnover. Here come the Bears in transition. Mitchell, and he scores.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Kickoff from your own 20. Team that scores the 2 points gets it right back, and there goes Ebner. Tristan Ebner in a foot race. Can he do it again? Yes, he can. His second kickoff return for a touchdown tonight. His fourth overall.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Purdy escapes, throws downfield, and intercepted. Kalen Barnes comes up with it. Their best cover corner has a broken thumb.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Over 900 yards of offense as Dalton gets it into the hands of C.D. Lamb. And he takes it in for another Cowboys touchdown. And an exclamation point here in Week 16.
Here's Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak.
Welcome into SicEm365 Radio. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak. Smokey's on vacation. So we're going to do a bunch of stuff that'll annoy him all week long while he's gone.
And we only got 2 days.
Yeah, we only got 2 days. But even still, we'll do stuff. But no, Smokey joins us here in a second to talk about the big news of the day in high school football. Baylor Lady Bears add a transfer as well. Jamie Asberry, she'll join us shortly. Actually, she'll join us at 3:45 today. Plus, we've got Keith Moreland to talk college baseball postseason. Also, a reporter from Salt Lake City to talk about Royce O'Neal's play for the Jazz. Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com today. Craig Smoak's off the radar. My top 5 at 5:55. Jason King will join us and talk about the ripple effect of Coach K leaving Duke and what that means. And we're going to replay Scott Drew from yesterday as well. So lots to do on the show today. And Craig, let's just get right into it. We usually don't start off with high school football news. And we'll talk Lady Bears and Jamie Asberry in a second, but she is going to join the show, so we'll kind of wait on that. But Jeff Hume is leaving Midway to go to Mansfield Legacy High School. He came to Midway from Mansfield High School. It's a shock to us. We are going to do the Midway games this year. We've done them before. We'd done them until last year for a long time. It could create a ripple effect in Central Texas coaching as well, in that some coaches that will potentially be up for the job or get that job. But just first, your thoughts on Jeff Hume leaving really took me by surprise today.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, we just had him on the show like a week ago talking about Midway. So, yeah, a little bit of a surprise that he would now be bouncing somewhere else. But that's the life of high school football sometimes. It's not ideal for Midway because it's so late in the process. But fortunately for them, they've got some good coaches around the area they could potentially go and look at, and I'd expect them to. And, they could perhaps throw a broader net than that, but this is not a long coaching search that you can have because it is June 3rd and your season's in 2 months. So they're going to have to be kind of quick with that, but I'm sure they probably already have a good idea of where to start. So I did see where Smokey made the comment about this potentially creating a domino effect in Central Texas, Jeff Hume, and I saw a random person, it looks like an assistant coach for one of the local high schools, say cap, which for those that don't know means lie. And I don't know. I'm going to save that tweet because I think this guy might be the one that has it all wrong, because I would be shocked if Midway doesn't go look around the area to find their next head coach, and that would create a ripple effect. So it's, sometimes good to just bite your tongue, and let's see how this plays out before saying, no, that's a lie. That's not going to happen. But, yeah, I am surprised by the timing of it since, again, we just talked to him a week ago. Was looking forward to covering them again this year. But, we'll still cover them this year with whoever the head coach is. We're not going to change. That wasn't us covering Jeff Hume. That was us covering the Midway Panthers. So we're still going to have Midway. We're still going to have Connolly. We're still going to have, full throttle high school football on SicEm365 Radio. But, I was surprised. I was surprised by that just because of the recent conversation and just the timing and where we are. But, he has history in that area. We know the district that they're in is not for everybody, and I'm sure that could have maybe played into things. I don't know. But I wish him well, and he was always great to me, and I was looking forward to being around him again this year, and now I won't be. So good luck to him with, whatever his, next steps are with not only Mansfield legacy, but beyond that as well.
Yeah, might get him on the show tomorrow, I think. So he's got to have a chance to meet with the team and kind of tell him what's going on before he talks to us. But, it is, and it's a big thing, and love Jeff Hume. He did a great job at Midway. I mean, last year notwithstanding, last year was COVID notwithstanding, they were in the buzzsaw district. They're also in the buzzsaw district when, they for the first time didn't really know who their quarterback was going to be, until late in the process. And they had moved Jared Moore out to wide receiver, and then he got hurt. They had a lot of things happen to Midway last year, But yeah, they wound up in that buzzsaw district, and that's not going to change this year, and it may not change in the next 2 years after this one. We don't know.
If the state of Texas wants to try and torpedo the Midway football program, then they'll keep them in that district. But I think the district is what it had to be, I guess, in this situation because of just the growth patterns and Central Texas and all of that. But I don't know what it's going to look like in a couple of years. I would certainly hope they could be in more of a Central Texas district. They're a Waco school. They're not a fringe Dallas school. Waco is not fringe Dallas. Waco is its own place. DFW's Metroplex area extends pretty far. It does not extend to Waco. We are not greater Dallas in any way, shape, or form, nor close to it. You got to drive like an hour to even get to that point. So the fact that they're lumped in with all those teams, I don't like it when it's like that. I didn't like it when Lee and Lufkin and John Tyler and Longview were all in a district, and Lufkin was kind of like that they were sort of on the outskirts compared to those three. And eventually Lufkin got moved down with the Conroes and the Houston schools. And, that kind of left something missing. And then Lee and JT had to move up with the Mesquite schools. And that just didn't feel right, man. It was like it's supposed to be the East Texas district.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about Midway being with those DFW schools. It's like, no, you should be in Central Texas. But, we'll see. The population might swing around a couple of places. Maybe Lake Belton grows faster than we expect or something, and it gets back to sort of more of what it was. But if not, then whoever's taking this job, they're just going to have to batten down the hatches.
I've never – I understand that it's just a fact of life in the state of Texas and how big it is and the vast expanse that we live in here in the Lone Star State. But I've never much been a fan of, some teams in the district have to drive like 30 to 40 minutes. And then there's a couple that have to drive an hour and a half or 2 hours, when you get in traffic. And it makes it, and not just because of the travel time, and that, that's neither here nor there to me, but it's just of like why would Midway care about DeSoto as a yearly rival other than in the playoffs? Like in everything, and not just in football, but like in everything. Like, how do you build that rivalry with, part of the thing that's good about when you play Temple or Waco High or all those, and I know they still play Waco High, but when Waco High and Midway play, kids know each other. They grow up playing together, Yeah,
UIL can only do what they can do. The population moves, and you got to break teams up, and that's just part of the deal.
That's kind of the bummer of it to me, and I get that. I'm not saying that I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's kind of a bummer. But I do. I liked the way the district was set up before for them. Now, so did they, because they won it every year.
Yeah.
And they were head and shoulders, only a couple times in the time that it was that, Midway and the Killeen schools and Waco High and Belton and Temple, only 2 times did somebody ever really put a charge into them and give them a scare. And when it came to the district title, and they dominated it for a long time. So that that's not going to happen in this district. It's not going to happen. So nobody dominates that district. It's kind of they have dominant teams, but nobody owns it 10 years in a row like Midway did in the one that they were in. So things were going to be different, and you can kind of see why Jeff Hume, maybe you would want to move on or do something different, and not knowing what the future of that job was going to be. But look, he took them, the team that went to the state title game with Tanner Mordecai at quarterback and Jackson Player, and my gosh, the litany of, Travius Hodges on that team, and the litany of players that were on that team. They were as good as any team I'd seen, and they didn't have a bad game all year, Craig, until the state title game. And
what are you talking about, like 3 years ago? Yeah, that was a good team. They had an opportunity to go win state and just didn't show up for that game. They just didn't show up, and they, had a bunch of turnovers and didn't play well. And that was a good opportunity for them, but didn't work out. Now they had another run with the district that they dominated. They're out of that now, so now Temple's kind of the leader in that district. But again, Midway's now got a coaching opening, and it could have a ripple effect, despite what some random assistant coach on a high school program might say. So be on the lookout for that and what might occur there, because I wouldn't imagine Midway's going to wait a real long time to make this hire. I'm sure the wheels are already in motion, and we will see who that next person is. But definitely, again, best wishes to Jeff Hume.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll go through all the protocols they have to go through, but they do need to do it fast. This is not a March 1st thing where you can take 2 or 3 weeks to find your coach, or a month. And sometimes it's a month. Sometimes it's 5-6 weeks. Finding the coach, because you got time. But now it's June 3rd. You want your coach to be in there for summer weights and all the other things that, to send down the line. You want their program in place. I'm sure Jeff Hume's going to take several assistants with him to Mansfield Legacy. You know?
Very well could.
There'll be a couple of those. So you're going to have to hire, probably more than one guy. And we're going to get Smokey on the air to talk about this and what it means, not just for Midway, but for everyone in high school football in Central Texas. So he's going to be on. I'll tell you when he answers his phone. There we go. All right. David Smoak joins us now from, I believe, DFW Airport. Are you in the airport, Smokey?
I am. I'm near what gate I'm going to be flying out of here in about an hour or so, and just kind of checking email and saw where the Lady Bears and Nikki Collins struck pretty good. It's taken a while, but good for her and good for Lady Bears to find what could be a hell of a transfer.
Yeah, she'll join us at 3:45. So we've got a lot to get to, Smokey. But let's talk Jeff Hume and Midway. Craig just mentioned it, and it kind of rattled me that it was just like a week and a half ago that we had Jeff Hume on the show talking about Midway this coming season, and now he's on his way to Mansfield Legacy. Your thoughts on just the shock of him kind of leaving out of the blue?
Well, yeah, I do think it's fair to say, and Jeff would admit this, that he was involved in probably anywhere from 2, 3, or 4 different other coaching searches. And I think maybe 1 or 2 that he was could have been even a finalist for. And I think it comes down to, am I surprised he left? No. Am I surprised he left this late in the year? Yeah, because it can be tough, although I think Midway will have plenty of people even this late in the year, maybe not the same amount or even the same quality of depth of quality of candidates, but it's late in the year. I mean, we're talking June, but am I shocked? No. When I kind of got a heads up late last night and then also was able to confirm it this morning, I kind of expected it. I thought it would come at the end of this year, but it almost did come with 2 or 3 other opportunities. He just never did get the confirmation. And so, he's been there 45-17, took them to a state championship. They froze up in that game, as we know, but had a pretty good run. But last year was not good at all.
So now what for Midway? Obviously a coaching search. Do you have any inclination of where they might start to look? I noticed that you had put a tweet up saying that this could create a domino effect in Central Texas. And I saw, some person was like, no, whatever. But what are your kind of early indications on this search?
Well, I don't have specific names right now because it's again, I don't even know if Jeff has actually turned in his resignation. I know he was going to meet with the staff earlier today, cannot meet with the kids until on Monday, and then you have that 10-day protocol, so to speak. But I would think that you look at anyone who's been attached to the program in recent years, whether under Terry Gamble and or even under Jeff Hume. And what I mean by domino effect is let's say that it's a job locally. I like, for example, I don't know who's the next coach. I just had somebody text me and said, hey, do you think, I don't know who that next person is. I just know what would make sense. Terry Gamble's no longer at Allen, and he had an incredible run, as we know, at Midway. But some of his coaches who were with him at Allen have already now become head coaches elsewhere at some pretty high-level schools. There's then the others who have been with him. And I think it would be fair to say that Conley Shane Anderson would be somebody that might be interested in the job because he's been there before. I think it's fair to say that they maybe even look for names like a Tommy Allison, who's at Hallsville, as somebody that could be interested in the job. I have not talked to Tommy about the job, but I would think that he is somebody. You know, the person that really was down to the wire with the job that Jeff Hume got was Sean Bell. That's not going to happen. Sean was at Cedar Ridge, as you both know. In fact, hammered Midway in the game that they played earlier in the year after the two had taken the jobs at Cedar Ridge and Midway. But he's set. I mean, Sean Bell has skyrocketed with what his value is as the quarterback's coach at a college football team, a Power 5 team. But I think it's fair to say those are just some people. I would think you got to go to those who've been connected to Midway in the past at some point as where you have a starting point. But when you're in the district they're in, with Duncanville, DeSoto, and Cedar Hill, not to mention the others, there's going to be some that don't want to touch it. There's going to be some that don't want to touch it this late. And then again, there's going to be some that say, hey, this is an opportunity for me, and I need to take it because Midway still has a chance. They just really had a bad year last year. One, because of the district, and two, they were down. And now the question is, who can they get in there to bring them back up again?
Craig mentioned this earlier. It's June 3rd. It's not March 3rd. How fast do they really have to make this move?
Oh, you have these new rules in the UIL where you can work out with your players, or you can have some off-season stuff during the summer that you couldn't before. We just talked earlier. Oh my goodness, I just went blank on the coach though. The coach at Ellison, Coach Cervance. I mean, he probably doesn't take the job, even though he was looking for one. He may not take the job at Ellison if it's not for the UIL now allowing coaches to be a part of some off-season during the summer. I think it's critical. You're coming off 2-7. They just had their spring game, so at least they had a full spring and they have the game. But I think it's critical. Here's another thing. It's not just who you hire as a head coach. It's who can that head coach either, one, bring with him, which might be tough, or number two, piece together a staff from other people that might be spread out throughout the state of Texas. But I think this is what I think. Jeff will turn in his resignation if he hasn't already. Again, I think he was supposed to talk to his coaching staff earlier today. Here's what happens. You do that, he resigns, then Baylor. Then Midway posts the job. It goes up there for 10 days, and I would think that within within a week or two after that, you might kind of have to pull the trigger and know what you want to do.
Well, I don't really have much else to ask about this. I mean, if we had candidates to talk about, that would be one thing. But you kind of already brought up some who might potentially be there. I don't know. Do you have anything else, just thoughts on this move by Jeff Hume, anything we haven't touched on?
Well, I'll say this about Jeff. First of all, 45-17, they had a great run. Last year and even the year before that, it was not easy. There were starting to be some people that started to increase the heat. 2-7 is not acceptable at Midway, and you have to be able to shut the valve off. And if I'm Jeff Hume, he didn't tell me this. If I'm Jeff Hume, and this is just from discussions with him the last 5 to 10 months, if I'm Jeff Hume, I understand the Midway standard. And no matter if it's DeSoto, Duncanville, Cedar Hill, and anyone else, it's the standard. Plus, remember, let's not forget they played Westlake to start the year when they were supposed to open up against Permian. So that was another just automatic loss. No matter if they had all these other good teams under Gamble and Jeff, that's 4 teams that you probably, I don't know if you win those 4 games year in and year out, you probably might not win 1 or 2. So I think that he probably looks at it this way. 2-7, same district. Who knows what the UIL is going to do next February or what's going to happen there. He wants to continue to coach, probably looking for some stability, and perhaps he didn't feel like he had it like he thought he did in his first 5 years here. And so why not find a place where he knows he can go, where he also knows because of his experience at Mansfield ISD in the first place.
Yeah, and I think some people think, recency, bias or whatever when they think about Midway last year. But just 3 years ago, they were one of the best teams in the state, in a team that could.
No question.
I mean, the what they built, that team with the talent that they had, and not only there's plenty of teams with talent, but the way everything kind of went their way because they were so well coached 3 years ago shows you what kind of coach Jeff Hume is, and he'll have success wherever he's going to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, what last year was a combination of probably three things. One, they were down a little bit, and Jeff even had told me that they probably had like a little bit of you have certain classes. You can see that coaches they know. That doesn't mean he's saying that there wasn't talent, because you had Gibson, you had McDonough, you had others as well that were, you had some people there. But, you look at who signed football scholarships at Midway this year, and I'll wait. I mean, I'll sit back and wait for you to tell me who it was. And so they were down a little bit. Now, they feel like they had a pretty good spring in a game as well. 2-7 was a combination of, some of it was COVID, some of it was a down year, and also the other part of it was there's not a better district in the top 3, 4, 5 teams in the state of Texas, and there are some good ones in that level at 6A than what you have with Duncanville, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, and then also with Midway, Waxahachie, Mansfield, whatever. And I'll say this as well. And I'll say this as well. That for the longest time, Midway was probably in a district that they were always going to compete, and always did. In fact, won, 10 or 11 consecutive district titles, because other than Temple or Copper's Cove on occasion, giving them something, a Shoemaker upset, they pretty much ran it for a decade. And so it kind of flipped on them when the UIL made the differences in the districts the last year.
All right, Smokey, well, enjoy your trip. We'll see you here in a few days.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy. Thank you.
All right, there's Smokey. So you get that's your last dose of Smokey for a couple days. That's it.
Yeah, unless something big pops like the NCAA, but we know that's not going to happen this week. Yeah. So, no, I don't expect to be talking to him until his vacation is over.
Do you think that people walk it, if I had an appointment at the NCAA, would I be shocked at how few people are actually in there doing anything?
I don't know, man. I didn't even begin to try to comprehend that whole organization. I think I've said my pieces about them here lately, and yeah, I don't know. They're just a mess.
Yeah. All right, next up, Ben Anderson from KSL Sports in Salt Lake City. Royce O'Neal and the Jazz ascending in the playoffs, and Royce O'Neal has been a huge part of the Jazz's run to the top of the Western Conference this year. He's next. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Alan Samuels is celebrating Jeep Freedom Days. It's an exciting time for the Jeep Cherokee and the new Grand Cherokee. Built tough as nails and able to stand up to any challenging off-road trails or city roads, travel with the innovative technology to meet your lifestyle. Jeep, a great SUV. Alan Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer, the best place to get your next SUV. Located at 201 West Loop 340, or visit them online at AlanSamuelsDCJ.com. Alan Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by. Let's be friends.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financials, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
Well, jump the gun on that one a little bit, but since we just had Smokey talking high school football. But we're joined now by Ben Anderson of KSL Sports. Royce O'Neal and the Jazz moving on after a first-round victory over Memphis. And Ben, we'll start with Royce O'Neal and kind of his unlikely rise to the starting lineup with the Jazz. Over the last couple years, how much of a surprise has he been and a contributor that has gotten this team to where they are at the top of the Western Conference?
I mean, absolutely enormous. I remember I was hosting a radio show when the Jazz signed Royce, and it was just, they signed him out of Europe. He had played at Baylor and then went overseas for a couple of years. And the Jazz already had a full roster and had just drafted a local player with the last pick of the draft. You kind of thought, okay, he's going to earn that final roster spot. But then they went out and signed Royce O'Neal, and it turns out they'd given him a guaranteed contract right away, which, is basically unheard of in the NBA, especially with European guys. So I remember thinking with my co-host, who is this guy? Well, what could this plan possibly be? Because we'd never heard of him. He wasn't a huge draft prospect coming out of Baylor, even though he was so successful when he was there. And then he kind of came in and just did all the stuff that the Jazz called Jazz DNA, which is just he rebounds, he does all the dirty work, he plays defense. And then he became an increasingly better and more reliable three-point shooter to the point where you really couldn't keep him out of the starting lineup. He was the type of guy who didn't need the ball in his hands to succeed, but when he got open shots, he knocked them down, and I think every team in the NBA needs that guy.
What has kind of led to that evolution? You mentioned him knocking down the opportunities, but what kind of turned the corner from him being that defensive presence and that kind of being just who he was to now being that threat that other teams have to account for?
I think it's really been part of what the Jazz have become notorious for, which is their ability to develop players, whether that's sending them down to the G League or just working with them and being patient, saying, hey, we don't need you to be a star in year 1 or year 2. We're going to give you until year 3 and 4 until you can become that guy. And you can see that across the board when you watch them play games. Now, Rudy Gobert was as big a project as there was in the NBA, and now he's turned himself into a legitimate star and defensive player of the year. Joe Ingles is that same type of player. George Niang, who comes out as that same type of player. But you know what? The Jazz general manager or vice president of basketball operations is Dennis Lindsey, who you all know is a former Baylor Bear himself, and he keeps close eyes on that program. So I'm sure he was very familiar with what Royce O'Neal could do before he went to Europe, saw him develop, and said, hey, we think there's even more here that can be brought out of him.
This is a team that the last couple of years, Ben, has been on the upswing. What's been the difference now? Is it like you said, everybody's now starting to come into their own? It's not just O'Neal like everybody's really coming into their own for the Jazz.
Yeah, really, and look, this is probably true for every championship team or every championship contender. You have to have a superstar, and the Jazz really haven't had a superstar since Karl Malone left the roster. And they've had good players, Carlos Boozer, Andre Karolinko, Darren Williams. They've had guys. They just haven't had this guy. And now you look at what Donovan Mitchell has done and developed into, and he just fell into the Jazz lap on draft night with a bad trade for the Denver Nuggets. And he's just exceeded all expectations, somewhat like Royce O'Neal, just at a higher level, just getting to that next echelon of player. And when you have a guy who, like last night, can score 30 points, 29 minutes, and give you 10 assists, and basically not miss from the field, you can win playoff games. And that's just what it's been. And sometimes you just get lucky. These stars fall in your lap. And I think that's been the biggest case. It's been Donovan Mitchell's evolution from a good player to an all-star, now to that conversation as a superstar, as a top 10, top 15 player in the NBA when it gets to the postseason.
Has there been much discussion, and this is just maybe looking at it in a weird way, but, the whole coronavirus pandemic in sports started with Rudy Gobert, basically. I mean, not because of him, but he was the first, public case that made everybody go, whoa. And I remember being in a hotel room the night that was announced, and just it felt like that was the moment the world kind of changed. And now you fast forward a year, here are the Jazz. They're the first team to move forward in the Western Conference. Is it just kind of crazy in a way to look back on where we were to where the Jazz are right now?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't write it. I mean, the craziness of what the last season has been, not just for the entire NBA, but for the Jazz specifically, from that March 11th night in Oklahoma City when we learned that Rudy Gobert is going to sit out, because we've been tracking it. They said he was dealing with some illness. They didn't really say what it was. And then all of a sudden, he's out of the game, and then it's coronavirus. And then the next morning, Donovan Mitchell also has it. And of course, every Jazz fan is freaking out. The NBA is shutting down. Sports across the world are shutting down. A couple of days later, there was the report that those two, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, their relationship was going to be unsalvageable. They weren't going to be able to stick together on the same floor. And then they have the best record in the NBA this season. They've become incredibly resilient, playing games without Donovan, playing games without Mike Conley. They never lost more than 2 games in a row this season. They go down 1-0 to open the series against the Grizzlies and then win 4 in a row. They just continue to have answers for all the major doubts, including last season when it seems like one of those 2 players was going to have to be traded.
What's the best case scenario for them going forward?
As far as matchup, I'm not sure they're really all that concerned about either Dallas or the Clippers. I mean, you can see how good both of those teams are, and Luka Doncic might be the best player left in the Western Conference, and that includes LeBron James. I mean, he's just an absolute superstar, and I'm of the opinion that anytime Luka Doncic is going to enter a playoff series, he's going to win 2 games. So you're looking at least a 6-game series, regardless of how these 2 teams match up, and you can probably say the same things with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So the Jazz, though, at this level, when they play like they did last night, I mean, I think there's a real belief growing with this team that they can get to the finals, and then you just hope you get a favorable matchup and you're healthy. But I don't think the Jazz look at this Western Conference landscape right now and don't think that they don't have a chance to emerge as the favorite.
Yeah, as the 1 seed, first team to move on in the West. I mean, they're the hunted right now, right? They're not the hunters, they're the hunted. And what was it like to just see Jazz fans again?
I mean, it's been great, honestly. It's enjoyable, and I know everyone probably felt the same way of thinking, oh, this might be weird to see everyone in a full building again. I know Texas got way ahead of the ball game with it and was having hosting fans at major league games. But, the Jazz were actually pretty quick when it came to the NBA. They opened the season with 1,500 fans. About a month and a half in, it went up to 3,200 fans, and then it was 7,000, and then 13,000. And now coming up in game 1, they're going to have the full 18,811, I think is the total capacity right now. It's going to be full, and it's been great. Other than a few ugly incidents with a couple of fans that were harassing John Morant's family, which, is just the nonsense that's going on in the NBA right now, unfortunately. It's been fun, and the crowds have been good, and obviously it just makes the product so much better than what we had last year in the bubble.
Oh, man, that 18,000+ is going to be absolutely insane. But I did notice you brought up the fan incidents. We've seen that across the NBA this postseason, but there were some with the Jazz series. But I did notice John Morant's comments and him, saying that he was going to root for the Jazz moving forward because of the way the organization handled those fan incidents. I guess that's, you hate that they're happening, but I guess the Jazz are taking care of them the way they should, that John Morant's feeling that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the Jazz have work to do. I mean, this isn't the first time this has happened in Utah, and Utah needs to represent itself better. And the people who need to enforce that are the Jazz owners, and they did undergo an ownership change in the last few months. The Miller family, who had owned it forever, sold it to Ryan Smith, who's kind of a tech billionaire out here in the state of Utah. And he's just taking a far more aggressive and progressive approach to these types of things. He's giving out scholarships for every Jazz win to, underappreciated and underrepresented communities in the state of Utah. And when we're getting these issues of harassment from fans towards players and players' families based on race, it's ridiculous in this era to be doing that. It's embarrassing for the state of Utah. It continues a bad image that the state has earned historically. So they're trying to change that. And you have to swing the pendulum back pretty far if you want to fix those issues. And I think that's what Ryan Smith and now, minority owner Dwayne Wade is trying to do. They're trying to show that it doesn't have to be that way in Utah. That doesn't have to be the perception of the state. And you have to take kind of major steps to fix it.
Yeah, Ben, one of the things I thought about, the hatefulness notwithstanding, I think people maybe forgot how to act all over the country too a little bit. I've been out, and then you're out in a stadium for the first time forever, and then all your bile and hatefulness just comes spilling out.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I do think there's absolutely a reason why as soon as fans are getting back into the arenas across the country, we're getting all these ridiculous, outbreaks from fans, whether it was the guy trying to run onto the floor at was it the Wizards game? It was the Philadelphia fan pouring popcorn on Russell Westbrook. It was just, we've had stupid incidents. And you're right. I think people have just been pent up for 12 months, 16 months, however long it's been now. I think everyone's lost track. And they get back into this public sense and they think, it's time to behave like a moron. And unfortunately, we're going to see that because fans have always acted like morons at times. And hopefully now we should realize, hey, okay, you got your week out. You had your opportunity to act like a fool. The NBA needs to start enforcing this better. But I do think it absolutely is a reaction somewhat to what's been going on for the last 12 months of people just being stuck inside. And that's not an excuse for it, but I do think that's part of it.
Ben, final question, just to kind of wrap it up and going back to Royce. How have the Jazz fans grown to embrace Royce? How do they feel about him out there in Utah as, not only he plays well, but he's been around there for a while now, just signed that contract last year, I think, or 2 years ago. What's kind of the opinion of the Jazz fans and Royce O'Neal?
He's a classic Jazz player. I mean, there are Royce O'Neals, and maybe this is true for every team in NBA history, but he's got this kind of, like I mentioned, classic Jazz DNA, which dates back to guys like Paul Millsap, who were underappreciated and came in and worked hard and earned a bunch of money. John Stockton did the same thing, underappreciated, turned into a star. He's just a guy who comes in, he brings his lunch pail to work, he does his job, he never gets in trouble. His mom comes to games, wears his jersey, is a huge fan. She's celebrated when she's around. So he's just beloved here. He's exactly what the Jazz have been looking for. And, at $10 million a year, I'm sure Jazz fans never thought they'd be having to pay him that much to keep him around based on his first few seasons. But when he gives you 17 points and hits 4 threes in a playoff game, I mean, he's a bargain at this point, which just makes him all the more likable.
Ben Anderson, KSL Sports, Salt Lake City, here with us on SicEm365 Radio. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. Yeah, Royce O'Neal, great story. Great story. I mean, and he was at the University of Denver, when he came out of Killeen, and then of course he, transferred to Baylor, and I think he got to play right away because he got the special, because he had a family member that was ill that he needed to come and help tend to back home in Killeen, and so comes to Baylor, and Smoak and I had actually done one of his games in high school, and he was a good player, but at the time I thought, well, he's at the University of Denver's about right, he's pretty good, but when he came to Baylor, he just got better and better and better and better. Another one of those Scott Drew transfers that worked out, exactly as you would wanted it to.
Yeah, it's almost like Scott Drew knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
kind of knows what he's doing. So what a career for Royce to have, carved out in the NBA so far. Like I mentioned, he signed that new deal not that long ago, a 4-year deal. So he's a millionaire, and hopefully taking care of his money and taking care of his body so he can be doing this for a long time, because I think he can only get better and better. He's already showing signs of improvement just this year. And if he continues to get better offensively and he's hitting threes on a consistent basis with his defense, he's going to be more than a solid player, and he's already a solid player. So Jazz have booked their ticket. They might face the Mavericks. They might face the Clippers. We will see on that, but they're the number one seed for a reason, and it's cool that there's a Baylor guy on the number one team in the West, and a guy that is having an impact. He's not just on the end of the bench and, on the roster. And Royce is a big part of what the Jazz do. So very happy for him. Also a Central Texas guy, as you mentioned, being down from the Killeen area. So double whammy in a good way right there.
When we come back, new Lady Bear Jamie Asberry, who transferred from Oklahoma State, joins us. This is SicEm365 Radio. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street, a hidden gem in Waco. Look, if you are... I stopped yesterday and got something at the drive-thru. It was just that easy. Just right through, told them I wanted. They had it, handed it to me. I was out and on my way. It is unbelievable, their customer service. They still have the single-barrel balconies that you can only get at Riverbend Liquor and Wine, plus a great variety of balconies. Whiskey, they're a great variety of all spirits, all wines, craft beer. Oh, my gosh. They have unbelievable variety of craft beer. And so you can get that there. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street, a hidden gem in Waco. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa Drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Paul, Catalina, Craig Smoak. Now, the Lady Bears, since Nicky Collin took over, had to deal with the transfers. Some people coming out. Well, the first one coming in, Jamie Asberry, joins us now, comes in from Oklahoma State. Jamie, thanks for so much for hopping on the show today. When you make the decision to transfer, it's obviously a big life step that you made. What's this process been like, and how good does it feel to have made your decision and to be coming to Baylor?
The process was kind of hard because I was sad having to tell my coaches that I decided to enter the portal. But once, I got all the sadness out the way, I felt better about myself and was ready to, bring on the new chapter.
So, getting to know Nicky Collin a little bit, how did Baylor first get on your radar? How did the conversations begin? Can you kind of just take us through the process of how you eventually became a Lady Bear?
Yeah, so after I entered the portal, she called and I was like, yeah, this is my dream school, so I'm down. You don't have to tell me. I was ready to be a part of the Baylor team, so now I'm here.
So you've played against Baylor, obviously, at Oklahoma State. You said it was your dream school. When did Baylor start? When was that first dream to come to Baylor? How old were you?
I would say I was a freshman in high school when I actually started to get to know what college was all about.
So how would you describe your game? What are the skills? What are kind of the intangibles that you feel like you bring to the Lady Bears program?
What I bring is my ability, my ability to be able to pass to the post, make the plays, the right plays. And since I'm more experienced in the Big 12 now, I feel like I'll be a good piece to the team.
So 17 points a game last year. You're stepping into a really loaded backcourt. Do you think that maybe your average, because of the ability that all you guys are going to have, is maybe go up?
Yes, for sure.
Who do you know anybody on the current Lady Bears roster by any chance, or is this going to be kind of first day of school at a new school for you?
Well, I do know Melissa Queen already, and Trinity is actually my best friend. I know she left, but I already knew a little bit about Baylor because she was there.
How excited are you to play with somebody like Nalissa Smith, who's been in the National Player of the Year conversation, obviously one of the better down low players in college basketball? What do you like about her game, and how do you see you two connecting on the court?
I like her game a lot. She's physical, and she gets the job done, and I can't wait to be her partner in crime.
It's funny you said partner in crime. I saw on Twitter that your career path is detective. We're going to get to that in just a second. Nicky Collin obviously steps in, and this has kind of been a whirlwind for everybody at Baylor. But what about her? I mean, I know she insists on being called Coach Nicky. People really seem to love playing for her in the WNBA and where she's been. What about her? What kind of was the gravitational moment that brought you in?
She was very upfront with me, and I like that. And she told me straight up that she wants to build a relationship. And, I'm all about building relationships with my head coach because I am a point guard, and I'm basically the second coach, So being able to, just go to her office and lay down and not even have to say anything to her will be big for me. And I just really want that relationship, and I think we'll have that for sure.
What does she tell you about what she's expecting from you, in terms of how you fit in with the team and what she's looking for you to do?
To shoot the ball. She said, get a jump this summer and shoot the ball.
There you go. Well, see,
Pretty simple.
There you go. That's at least fun. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, shoot the ball. All right, so the Lady Bears tweeted out today, and I wanted to get to this because I thought this was pretty cool. All right, so getting to know more about Jamie Asberry, your favorite food is waffles. Where are the best waffles you've ever had?
At a Waffle House, of course.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Do you get hash browns with them?
No, I get a double waffle light with scrambled eggs and sausage.
Okay, so she's got her order. We're about 90 miles from the closest Waffle House,
unfortunately.
Sadly, but
there's other places though.
There's other places. Yeah. All right. Your favorite, your favorite music is rap music. Who's the best rapper in the game right now?
NBA YoungBoy, of course.
That's a good choice.
There we
Absolutely
go.
Good
All right,
choice.
there we go. Okay, career path is detective. Who's the best TV detective?
Oh, that's a hard one. I don't know. I can't answer that. I can't even answer that.
Do you watch detective shows, or is it?
So I watch more of, the FBI, because, they're not really the same.
Yeah.
I'll prefer to be a detective first, then go to FBI. But if I go straight to the FBI, then I'm fine with that.
Okay, FBI. So when did that the interest in fighting crime start?
So my dad is actually a deputy at the Coast Guard Sheriff's Office, so it's kind of been my dream to, help out the community and, make everybody feel safe.
That's awesome. I mean, that's great that you're planning on giving back. That's great. Kind of take us through, Jamie, your timeline now. So you've just made the decision today, and it's become official. So what's kind of the next steps for you? What's this summer looking like? What's moving to Waco looking like? I'm sure you're probably sorting a lot of that through, but what's kind of the loose idea right now?
Well, I'm still taking summer courses with OSU, so we're hoping that I can come in July, but it's probably going to be August when school starts.
That's right. You're wrapping up your classes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. One more thing. It says your hobbies are swimming and cooking on this thing. What is your favorite thing to cook? What is the best thing you cook?
I really can cook about anything. You just put it in front of me and I can make it. I'm going to go with, I make really, really good stuffed chicken breast.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I would have said ramen noodles for me, Paul. So she's slightly ahead of me, no doubt.
Yeah. All right. Well, see, maybe someone needs to get her a waffle iron, and she can.
Yeah, maybe
she can go on that.
Oh, trust me, I already have one of those.
Thinking ahead.
There we go. All right. So she told you to get in the gym and shoot. How many shots a day do you think you take when you're practicing?
So when I'm doing like an individual workout, I do keep track, and it's usually 1,000, maybe 1,500 when I'm not tired. So I've really been working on my shot a lot, and I'm expected to do big things, and I'm trying my best to do that, and get us very far.
Well, Jamie, thanks for being on the show with us today. Congratulations on your decision. We're excited to have you in Waco. We can maybe we have a lot of Brian, our one of our partners is a big cook. Smokey and I both cook. We maybe need to just do a cooking show here one day and get everybody in, and maybe you can share some of your recipes with us.
Oh, no, I'm not sharing no recipe. You can taste it, though.
There we go. That's it. All right, Jamie, really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Can't wait for you to get here. Good luck, and can't wait for the season to start.
Thank you.
All right, that's Jamie Asberry, new guard for the Lady Bears, point guard for the Lady Bears. 17 points a game last year, Craig. So this is no slouch coming in to a backcourt that's already pretty well stocked with talent.
Well, I mean, they needed to address point guard, right? Yeah. That was something that they had to look at, and this fits the bill. Jamie Asberry fits the bill. As she said, she's played a long time in the Big 12 now, so she won't be, in any way, shape, or form caught off guard when she takes the court to face the OUs, UTs, everybody else in the conference. I mean, she's been there, done that, so that's great to have that experience. She's a veteran, and when you've got a coaching change and you do have some veterans, but you also kind of, you've gotten a lot younger as well because of people like Moon Urson leaving. So to have that veteran experience will definitely come in handy. It sounds like Nikki Collin has a lot of plans for her and, the leadership aspect and just running the offense, doing that. So, seems to have a great personality. And look forward to seeing her don the green and gold. It's great that she said that, Baylor was her dream school. Mm-hmm. And so now she gets to live that dream, and probably didn't think that was going to happen. For all the negatives about the transfer portal, that is one cool part of it, is if you are someone like Jamie Asberry and, you dreamed of playing for Baylor, but you ended up at Oklahoma State. Now you get to play for Baylor. So that's pretty cool. And I'm happy for her and happy that Nikki Collins got a little momentum going.
Yeah. And she's got 2 years of eligibility, which is great. So that they can, you get her established, and then you can build on that in year 2. I wonder what this year is going to be like for Nikki Collin. I think she's got a really good team. I think they're going to hit the ground running. It just, sometimes you got to build new things. She's going to obviously install her system, and so how long does that take to get going, I think is kind of the key for the Lady Bears.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know what that process is like. We've seen coaches come in and, like a Matt Rule, it takes a couple years, different circumstances and everything, but it might take certain systems a couple years to really sink in and be adapted and be to where you're comfortable, and executing them at a high level. For Nikki Collin, I don't know. I don't know how complicated or how simple or whatever it is to learn what she's going to be requiring of this team, but sure looking forward to seeing them getting started and seeing what that's going to look like, and glad they've got a new addition, because we've basically been talking about exits and exits and exits, and now we get to talk about somebody actually coming to Waco, so that's great.
College baseball postseason is getting underway this week. The road to Omaha in the College World Series. Keith Moreland joins us next. We'll talk about that, plus his Texas Sports Hall of Fame nomination. And Craig, I'm curious, because in my in my organizing of my baseball cards last year, I found a great number of Keith Morelands.
Really?
He was a Cub, a fan favorite with the Cubs. Everybody, when he was with the Cubs, of course, the Cubs kind of like everybody who plays for them. If you're good, I mean, that's a great fan base there. But I saw some Keith Morelands. I'm wondering if he might have some of his own cards stashed somewhere, and he's waiting for the value to go up.
Could be.
I mean, I doubt he's going to get like that. Mike Trout value, but you know what? If they go up, you go up.
I mean, maybe if you combined every card he's ever had, he would equate a Mike Trout card. But yeah, I don't know that I've ever. I mean, it's kind of like the yellow car thing. If you're looking for something, to be racist or dangerous or like whatever, it's that whole yellow car thing. So yeah, I don't recall ever coming across his cards, but I'm sure if I had been looking for them, then I probably did stumble across quite a few in my own cleaning out.
And I'll tell you, I probably would not have noticed if I didn't already have met him.
Yeah.
From the years he worked with Craig Way before he went up to work for the Cubs.
Well, I can tell you, I was going through cards and I saw a lot of Baylor guys that, like Alfred Anderson cards, and if I had not known that he went to Baylor, like I probably went to those cards a million times years ago, never thought twice about an Alfred Anderson card, but now I come across it and I'm like, oh wait, I'll put that one to the side. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, when we come back, Keith Moreland, Texas Sports Hall of Fame nominee. This is SicEm365 Radio.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Looking to the end zone. He's got him in. Touchdown. RJ.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak.
Welcome back into SicEm365 Radio. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, and joined now by Keith Moreland, Texas Sports Hall of Fame nominee, and with ESPN broadcasting college baseball postseason this week. Keith, first, let's talk about the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. For someone who did so much in sports in Texas, and then, you know, being a Texan in Major League Baseball, what did that mean to you to get that nomination?
Well, anytime that you have the opportunity to, you know, I love the state of Texas. I was born and raised here. I love to hunt and fish and be a part of the state, and to have played high school sports and college sports in the state, it is such an honor just to have your name mentioned with some of the greats that are involved in that. I've come to Waco many times, obviously calling games in both football and baseball, and I've gone through the museum multiple times. It is a truly an honor just to have your name mentioned in that realm.
Did you ever think that would include your name?
Well, no. You know, you look back and you think about the things you did. I had a whole lot of fun playing. I'd love to go back and do it again. You just get old.
Right.
If I could go back and do it again, I'd love to. It was an incredible part of life, and it's truly an honor just to being mentioned with some of the guys and some of the names that are already there.
I know you're doing the Fort Worth Regional this week, and we'll talk about them in a second. But your Longhorns are they're back to where they were. They had a couple years, Keith, and I think of all the sports that could have taken or had taken a dip at Texas, to me the most shocking was baseball. Because that's, over the years, the most consistent. I mean, when you go from Cliff Gustafson and then, you know, you get Augie Garrido, like there wasn't much lag. What has it been for them that's the key that's gotten them back up to where they were for so long as one of the dominant powerhouses in college baseball?
Well, you know, I think really and truly there's two things that sort of jump off the page that I think that you have to do. And Rodriguez at Baylor's tried to do the same thing. Hey, we're seeing Texas become more physical. And what I mean by that, you know, baseball is not a sport where you can go down and hit somebody on the kickoff, or you got to be bigger, stronger, and faster. But to hit the ball at the ballpark, slugging percentage, the game has really changed. I mean, you guys watch Major League Baseball, it's really changed. You don't see the small ball game anymore. Everybody is trying to steal a base. There's a lot more strikeouts across the board from high school all the way through the major leagues. And you're starting to see teams get more physical and hit the ball at the ballpark. I think that's one of the big changes, this recruiting idea. I mean, Coach Garrido was one of the greatest of all time. He won 2 titles here. He won 5 total overall his style work. But I think we're seeing a change in the game, and I think that transition from small ball and pitching to more of mash baseball, more physical baseball, plus the pitching is continue to be good, even in the years where Texas struggled. Where they struggled was scoring runs, guys. It wasn't that they struggled because they couldn't pitch and catch, because they've always been able to do that. But you just see the difference in this team is their ability to slug. I think slugging percentage, OPS, is one of the big numbers now that I watch when I'm looking at any level. And boys, the team, their OPS is over 800.
What do you think about the health of college baseball? Just what have you seen from the game this year? Do you like the way the game's being played? Do you like where the sport is currently? As far as just kind of its place amongst college athletics and the direction it's going?
Boy, that is a really good question. I think the health of college baseball is so much better than it was a decade ago. Sports go in pendulums. We were at a time where we were having championship games with the BB Core bats and the balls, and the final scores were 20-14. That's not, that's a pretty good game if we're playing in McLean Stadium, but it's not a good game if you're playing on a baseball diamond. So, and then they reverted back. The pendulum went back so much that everything was a 2-1, 3-2 game. There was no excitement. It was really tough for the fans to get involved. So they finally have gotten the bat right. They've finally got the baseball. It's almost the same version as the minor league ball that they use throughout minor league baseball. So, you've got a really good combination. The 3-run homer is back, but still good pitching still can do the job. So I think the state of our sport of college baseball across the country is light years ahead. Plus the other part, administrations across especially the Power Fives, have put a bunch of money into it. There's a lot of really nice ballparks. It's a real fun opportunity to go to the ballpark, have a good time. It's a great family environment. And you're seeing a product that you're starting to see these guys go from the College World Series. 4 of the players from the 19 and 18, Oregon State club are already in the big leagues. So you're starting to see that transformation where people would say, oh, that guy's a good player. And then they turn up to play with their favorite team.
All right, look, in the regional you're covering, TCU takes on that Oregon State team, or I guess potentially takes on Oregon State. Your thoughts about that regional and Jim Schlossnagle and TCU in particular?
Well, congratulations to them. I think they played well all year long. Coach Schloss does a great job of it. He's got a style and a commitment to what he does. He recruits athletes. They're a special breed of athlete. It's very expensive to go to school there. So they've got to be smart to get in school, much like Baylor. The expense for some of these non-state schools, it's really difficult on parents and that kind of thing. So you got to recruit the right guy that can play and financially can afford to pay the tuitions and things. They only give 11.7 scholarships for college baseball, which, in my opinion, should change.
Right.
But that's what it is, and you got to deal with it. He's done a great job of recruiting people, and then he's got a really good staff. And his staff does a great job of taking young players and building them along and bringing them up where they're a really good blend. They do a good job of development is one of the things that I see, and they have done that for the last decade. Texas Tech and TCU have been the premier program in the state for basically the last decade. Now Texas is trying to get back into that mix where Texas was the premier program for probably 5 decades. You're seeing that. I really like them. They did not get any favors, even though they're a national seed. I went through this yesterday with some other guys, some people that I work with, Mike Rooney and Kyle Peterson and other people. And we were starting a conference call, and we sort of went through every regional of what we thought. And I think this is a real competitive regional. I think TC's really good, but they didn't get any favors there because Dallas Baptist has always been good. They play at TCU. They play TCU well. They play them regular, so that's not something new. And then this Oregon State ball club, it's been on a roll. They have played their best baseball in the last 6 weeks. They can really pitch and catch it. They don't have a tremendous amount of offense, but one thing that they do, and they do so well, is they create some offense with the things that they do. They got 3 guys in the middle of their lineup that can hurt you at any time. So I really think this is a competitive regional. I think Saturday's game in the winners bracket will be really fun to watch.
Obviously, Texas is the highest seed of the Big 12 teams, but do any of these three set up better than the others for what it's going to take to not only get to Omaha, but win in Omaha?
I think probably if you'd asked me this in the 1st of April, I think that's another good question. The 1st of April, I would have said, yeah, Texas Tech is a real contender to win the national championship. They have 4 bodies that are missing and 4 really good players. 2 frontline starters, their starting center fielder, which is a preseason All-American. He's out for the year. And they've lost a guy out of their bullpen. So they're just not quite the same team. Now, they're still a very good baseball team, but when you take 4 guys out of a college baseball team that you're counting on, and veterans and juniors and seniors, and one of them's a redshirt senior. So you take that out of their system, they're not going to be as good as they should be, but they got a good draw. I mean, I think they'll get through the first round. I do not like their matchup in the Super. I think if TCU gets through this first round, I think their regional, it's hard to say this, their regional may be tougher than their Super, where you take a team like Texas, I think they'll get through their regional fairly easily, but they're going to take on Florida, which was the preseason number 1 and stayed number 1 for most of the first half of the season.
So how excited are you just to be at a regional and fans and the buzz of the crowd? I mean, we've seen it over the last couple of weekends with different sports, the NBA playoffs, college softball World Series. Just how excited are you to kind of just be in a regional and have it be somewhat normal?
Well, it is somewhat normal. There will be they're allowing 3,000 people. That's pretty much capacity at Lipton. The infinite wisdom of who I work for on ESPN. All of us are calling these games from our home studios or from different studios. So we're not on campus this first round. Now, next week in the Supers, there's a rumor mill throughout the company that we are going to be on campus, and that will be really fun to be back in a press box, back in a broadcast booth, and see everything live and being back there, because it takes a lot of work, time, and effort to call one from home. It is a lot different feel because you don't get to see everything that you normally would see when you're on site. So it will be fun. It's going to be great to hear the crowd and see the crowd because, like I said, it's right at capacity. But unfortunately for us in this industry, we've been at home most of the year. We're ready to go back to work and be at the ballpark.
Keith, how much intrigue will be added to this postseason in the fact that LSU and A&M both have open coaching spots?
Oh, I tell you, there is a lot going on behind that. And also, now let's throw another one in there that's been a really good program. Rice is open as well.
Yeah.
So, there is a lot going on behind the scenes. We've seen just from talking to other people in different parts of the country, there's a lot of people who's already been in contact, even though we're playing in the middle of this, trying to find out if they get permission. You've got 3 programs, and we've heard that there may be a couple more, especially out west, that may be coming open. So this is going to be unusual. There's some names. Guarantee you that Jim Schlossnagle, as you just mentioned, even though he's been 18 years at TCU, there's a great chance people are going to come after him. I mean, I think that would be LSU more than maybe A&M. So, Dan Hefner at Dallas Baptist, he's been offered a couple of jobs. I think Baylor even looked into that when they were looking to hire Coach Rodriguez, which, oh, by the way, I really do like and enjoy, and I think he's done a great job and continue to do a great job. They should be in. Let's start with that. I don't know how they're not in. So, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting year, an interesting off season, and they will try to get this done. I would be really surprised unless one of the 8 coaches that reach the College World Series, that both those jobs have somebody in place when we get to Omaha, unless they're trying to negotiate with one of the 8 teams that are there.
Of all the places you could go, I mean, to be open at the same time, A&M and LSU about the not only their conference rivals, but the fan fervor in both those places for baseball is pretty big. Oh, outstanding! There's no place better in America that I can think of. Maybe Baum Stadium in Fayetteville that is more fun to sit and watch a game as to be at Bluebell. So
You're absolutely correct. It is interesting that those two programs, storied programs, are going to have somebody to replace it, and it will send shockwaves up and down because they're not going to go hire somebody new. It's not going to be somebody's first job to take either one of those jobs. It's going to be somebody that's already existing in this world and a college baseball world, and then there'll be trickle-down effect. What happens after that?
Craig asked you earlier about the state of college baseball. I'm curious your thoughts on the state of Major League Baseball right now and the way that the game is kind of all or nothing, home runs and strikeouts. From an old school guy like yourself, we had David Murphy, Arthur Rhodes, Jason Jennings on all last week. Curious as a longtime former Major Leaguer yourself, how do you feel that the game plays out right now?
Well, it's so much different than the way it was played when I played. I mean, a leadoff double, your job, I played with guys like Mike Schmidt, Pete Rose, and Andre Dawson, and Ryan Sandberg. There's a leadoff double. The next guy's job is to hit it to the right side and move that guy up for the next guy, and you play offensive baseball to score runs. You just don't see that anymore. It's all or nothing, just like you said, and I think that's why you're seeing more and more no-hitters. I mean, guys are getting bigger, stronger on the mound. They've got good stuff. And you also have hitters that are no longer in the contact business. They're in the home run or extra base hit business. And it's just really changed the game. Home runs sell tickets, no hitters and 2-1 games don't. So, I think that's where the direction Major League Baseball's wanted to go. And I think that's where we're at. And it's not the same type of game. It's reciprocal though. I think we saw that in the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire era where we saw a lot of strikeouts, saw a lot of home runs. Yeah, of course, there was a lot of steroid use and other things going on at that time, but I don't think we have that in the game now, but I think you'll see reciprocal for we're going back to somebody will come in like a Sosa who's out of the game, not managing anymore, but he'll come in and they'll start, getting the guy on, bunting him over, getting him in scoring position and start playing offensive baseball, and they're going to start winning games, and it's going to raise people's eyebrows.
All right, Keith, baseball cards are going through the roof right now. I spent most of last summer organizing cards. I have a stack of Keith Morelands at my house.
I don't know that they're worth anything.
Well, I mean, how do we rig the market on Keith Moreland cards? So I'll cut you in since you're on them.
I wish you could because I think I got about 500 of them myself.
Need to make it an NFT or whatever.
Yeah, you get an NFT of Keith Moreland. Yeah, look, you're a beloved Chicago Cub, Keith. I mean, those fans love players maybe more than any fan base loves players. Like we got to get some.
It's a great place to play, and they're playing really good baseball right now too. That's another thing to watch. I mean, they've gone from last place to first place since. And if you're a sports fan or a baseball fan, since Anthony Rizzo struck out Freddie Freeman when they were getting killed in the game and they needed a pitcher, there was not a pitcher in the game. Since then, they're 26-7, I think, and they've taken over first place. So they're playing their best baseball of the year. I hope it holds on.
Well, Keith, enjoy broadcasting from home. I know it's strange
it is.
To have to do that, and we hope that you get around next week and get out of the house and get to get into a ballpark where you belong, Keith. And
you guys in the greater Syntex area, y'all need to stop the rain because it has been pouring down here. I don't know if y'all are getting it.
Yeah. We are. Yeah.
It did rain for like 8 hours yesterday, and I thought, man, that's nice.
We're at drought. Yeah,
that's nice. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Keith. Keith Moreland, Texas Sports Hall of Fame nominee, and absolutely should get. He was dominant at Texas as a baseball player.
Yeah, I don't remember much. I'd have to go back and look, but I enjoyed talking baseball with him, and I like what he had to say about the state of college baseball. Seems it's in a really healthy place, and we could have dove more into Baylor not making it, but I think he made his point pretty clear in just what he said. They should have been in. So, I know Drake Monday or something had his case for why Baylor should have been in. And, there's arguments to be made, but fact is they're not. And I think Steve Rodriguez will get this thing going, back in the right direction. I would be shocked if they're not, right back in the thick of things next year after the way this year ended. I know they'll lose some talent, but they'll be back. They'll bounce back from that, and they'll learn a lot from the way this season went. And, definitely learn from that last month of the season when you basically all you had to do was just win a couple games here and there, and you failed to do so. And that's why you just can never, ever leave it in the hands of a committee. You can never leave it in the hands of a vote. Baylor football learned that with the college football playoff. And Baylor baseball learned that, unfortunately, this past weekend with their lack of a postseason appearance. So definitely enjoyed talking to Keith, though, and getting some insight. And TCU, Tech, Texas, they'll all be, very much in the thick of things, I would imagine, even though he had some doubts about maybe Tech and how far they could go. But Texas and TCU and Tech, to maybe a little bit lesser of an extent, they are going to be leading the charge for the Big 12, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that shakes out. And could you imagine Jim Schlossnagle leaving TCU?
Well, we've seen some pretty crazy things. We've seen Kim Mulkey leave for LSU. Nobody ever thought she would leave Baylor. Mm-hmm. And there's somebody else I had in mind that's done something similar. But yeah, I mean, it seems impossible. We'll see, though, if he actually does leave. I mean, that's the thing is kind of like the same thing with Kim. Is like you've been there for a while. The program's established. You've, had great success. Everything's kind of already in order. Do you want to pick up and move? And that's the thing is some people love the idea of starting somewhere fresh and new. Maybe you're just want new scenery, new part of the country, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think it's going to take a lot, and it would be crazy to see him leave Fort Worth.
Yeah, but look, there are two, like I mentioned to Keith, Bluebell Ballpark and Alec Box Stadium are places where the fans are into it. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they sell out, and you've got a lot of people coming to games. So as a recruiting tool, you can't get much better than that. I'm surprised A&M moved on from Rob Childress, but again, Ross Bjork didn't hire Rob Childress.
Right. I mean, anytime there's an AD change, it's always almost inevitable.
He's actually, I think, 3 ADs down from the AD that hired him. So again, that's always, if you're a couple ADs down, and even though you might have been successful, when you get to the point of, you're not as successful, then what is that AD who didn't hire you? He's not going down with that. Mm-hmm. He can go and hire a new one. And the thing that schools like A&M and LSU have, I mean, of course, Paul Maneri's retiring, but, and like you fire a coach at A&M, and it's not like you're going to be like, oh, does anybody want to come here? They'll have a line of people that want to come there because of the money that they can throw at people. It's ridiculous. So, and I'm just curious, and especially those two probably going after some of the same candidates.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're I mean, that's each other's biggest rival now in most sports. Maybe not football. It's probably A&M's biggest rival in football now. Obviously, A&M's kind of in a similar situation if you think about it. Their biggest rival was always Texas when they were here, but Texas' biggest rival was Oklahoma, and A&M was secondary in spite of how much crap they talk back and forth to each other. And now A&M's biggest rival in football in the SEC is LSU, but LSU's most important team right now is Alabama.
In football, yeah.
In football,
yeah.
And everything else is probably A&M and LSU are legit the rivals just because of the proximity. All right, before we go to break here and get Mickey Spagnola, a couple of texts from the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line from Sampy82. For a waffle recommendation for Jamie Asberry, 310's Kitchen across the street from us makes excellent waffles with their chicken and waffles meal. Yes, I've had it. It's awesome.
Good to know. Good to know.
Only a couple days a week, though, Fridays and Saturdays. So make sure you look that up. Here was a text from the 770 Art Browse at Midway. No, I don't think that's going to happen.
Hell no, man. No, hell no. Like, I mean, I know it's a joke probably. But the thing is like, that's probably for somebody that's really not a joke. But no, that's not going to happen.
No. From Daniel Acton, Manchester Legacy might go 6A next year. That could make realignment interesting. Lake Belton not going 6A anytime soon. But I do wonder what that means for Belton in the next realignment.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what the state of, the splitting of the schools is going to do to enrollment. I know that, it wasn't expected to make both programs like 3As, that Belton's going to stay pretty high up and Lake Belton will get higher and higher. I really don't know how to peg the next round of realignment, but yeah, I mean, that Midway job's going to be highly coveted. He knows, that Mansfield area very well, and if Legacy's potentially getting a bump up, then, that makes sense to be more motivation for him to go. Obviously a much easier district that he's in as well. I mean, you're playing like Birdville and schools like that versus playing Duncanville and DeSoto. Yeah, I mean, I would probably take that offer as well. So, there's reasons why Jeff made the move that he did, and best of luck to him. And now it's Midway's turn to go find a head coach, and hopefully find a coach that's going to be around for a while. That's one thing about that program is they're more elite than pretty much everybody else in Central Texas. Well, not even they are than everybody else in Central Texas in football. I know Temple could make a case, but based on Temple and Midway's interactions here recently, Temple doesn't have much of a case. You know what I mean? So Midway is kind of the premier program in the Waco-Temple-Killeen area, and I'm sure it'll be a highly coveted job. But there's a lot of work to do there because, you are running into a murderer's row. And being who they are, they're the kings of, or not kings, but, the top program in Central Texas, but they're not the top program in the state. They're not quite at the level of an Allen and Duncanville, DeSoto's, all those. So they do kind of rifle through coaches. I mean, this is going to be the third head coach in the last 10 years or whatever the case may be, because we saw Gamble lease for Allen, Humes lease for Mansfield Legacy, and really Midway's a spot where you wouldn't think anybody would really want to leave, except for one of those few chosens like an Allen. So, I'm sure Mansfield Legacy is a great opportunity, and Midway's a great opportunity for somebody else. So look forward to seeing who that next head coach is.
Yeah, from Scotty B, the Baylor King, I was part of Midway when they were in the district with San Angelo. I know. We went there.
I mean, talk about like cities that need to grow or places around. San Angelo needs to get some company out there so that they're not, dragging people 5 hours out of the way to play a district game. They're in just a weird spot in the state.
Drove there and drove back in one day.
Yeah.
Did a game. I was miserable. We had to come and do a Baylor. Baylor had an 11 o'clock kick the next morning. We did a pregame show. That was before you were on the broadcast, Craig.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. You can thank your lucky stars that didn't happen. My God. But, 11 o'clock pregame the next day. Still shocking overall on Coach Hume. Even more shocking, by the way, Oklahoma lost to James Madison in the softball College World Series today. That's a huge upset. I mean, Oklahoma #1 seed overall, and most people don't think they were going to lose at all. All right, when we come back, Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Then after him, Craig Smoak's Off the Radar. This is SicEm365 Radio.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
And Prescott on the keeper, walks in, touchdown, Dallas.
It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com. Brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas, with 5 locations to serve you.
We'll be talking Cowboys with Mickey Spagnola here in just a moment. Effort in getting Mickey on the line. Talk to him about the latest with the Cowboys. They got training camp coming up here in just a few weeks' time. Be hearing reports from them out in Oxnard, California. It looks like Oxnard, California will be part of the Cowboys training camp plans. They want to mention Air Force confirmed the Baylor non-con football matchup. We heard Mack Rhodes on this very show about 2 or 3 weeks ago. He dropped the nugget that Air Force was in Baylor's future plans for their non-conference, and today Air Force putting out an announcement that confirms that. We didn't really need their confirmation, but it's nice to have it. They'll also be playing Colorado and New Mexico State, but that Baylor game between them and Air Force will be September 7th in 2024 in Waco, and I'm trying to find the return trip. The return trip, this is what's interesting, Paul, as I know we'll get to Mickey in a second. The Baylor game in Waco with Air Force will be in 2024. Mm-hmm. The return trip will be in 2027. Okay. So bit of a split there, but that's now been confirmed thanks to Air Force. So plan accordingly for that 2027 trip out to Colorado to face the Air Force Falcons.
It's beautiful out there at the Air Force Academy. So that might be a trip that a lot of people want to make. Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Mickey, OTAs, I believe today was your open media day, correct?
Absolutely. We got to watch a little football practice.
All right, so anything jump out at you about, particularly like, I'm curious about Keanu Neal or some of the guys moving around and what they're doing in this Dan Quinn defense?
Well, they're kind of mixing and matching a whole lot, so it's kind of hard to see what they're doing, but they had at the linebacker position when, the so-called first guys were out there for like 7-on-7 and 11-on-11. They did 11-on-7, so Dak could participate on the offensive part without anybody rushing him. First out was Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, and then second out was Micah Parsons along with Keanu Neal. And then they had other guys mixed in, but they are working Keanu Neal as a linebacker, and we'll see if it's kind of a change-up thing when they go to nickel. There's different ways they can massage all that to try to get the most out of the linebacker position that they have. So, they've been rotating those guys at the linebacker spot. A constant rotation in the secondary. But if you were wondering about the secondary, the first guys out at corner were Trayvon Diggs and Anthony Brown. The safeties were DeMonte Kazee and Jaron Kearse. And then I mentioned the linebackers. So, that's kind of how they've been rotating those guys out first, and then the other guys kind of get in there.
Mickey, what have been some of the initial player impressions of Dan Quinn's style of coaching?
He's pretty hands-on. The players love him already, and it's only been, 3, 4, 5 OTA practices so far. Leighton Vander Esch, in an interview today, basically, he didn't say it in these words, but what he was inferring was this is so much better than what it was last year. We're doing what we should be doing this year the way we did it in 2018. So I think the players are all on board with Dan Quinn. Now, we got to see results. But again, and I think I've told you guys this, Dan Quinn has to be the most important off-season acquisition the Cowboys make this year. And so far, it sounds pretty good with the players seemingly on board. And the one thing, guys, when you watch a practice and you can hear the linebackers kind of communicating, barking out different things, they're already doing that. Remember last year, they didn't have an opportunity, and they changed so much with the defense to have OTAs, to have a mini camp, to have a rookie mini camp. And all of a sudden you show up in training camp and you're trying to learn a whole different language, right? And as we saw, the defense obviously was poor, but I think the poorest part was the communication. They were busting so many assignments. So I think so far so good with Dan Quinn.
I think the most important, guys who are coming back obviously are Lyle Collins and Tyron Smith. Mickey, just by reading some of the stuff that Tyron Smith has said, was his injury and the neck surgery had something he'd been maybe playing through and putting off for a while, and now he feels better than he has in quite some time?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summation. I think, previously you'd see him the year before especially, he'd miss a game or so, miss a practice because he was having neck problems. And it just came to a head last year. And, if you talk to him, you talk to Lyle Collins, I think those guys feel better than they've felt in a couple of years. And they're moving well. Now they're kind of holding them out of the contact portion of these off-season workouts. But when they get to training camp, both of those guys will be ready to go. Zach Martin will be ready to go. And as Lyle Collins said, you get all three of us back in there and healthy, this might be one of the better offensive lines in the National Football League. And if you think about it, Connor Williams will be playing his, I think, fourth season. Remember last year, he was coming off a torn ACL the year before. So, that's a tough thing to return just in that first year. It usually gets better the second year. And everybody seems to be high on Tyler Biadasz. As a matter of fact, Lyle Collins said today that Biadasz reminds him a lot of Travis Frederick. So we'll see if that offensive line is put back together. And if it is, and Dak Prescott's put back together, this could be a pretty potent offense.
I think we know what he can do, but obviously, last year wasn't the best year. But how'd Zeke look out there? I know it's not, full contact and all of that, but it appears he went through the full workload. How'd he look?
Yeah, he looks good. He looks fit. He looks engaged. My understanding that he's been here this entire offseason working, which is a good thing. Sometimes we forget that if you're struggling on the offensive line, you're probably struggling in the running game too. It's not just protecting the quarterback. I think that was a factor last year, along with the fact that, and at the time, you guys, we didn't know what the effects of COVID-19 would be on someone who had it and recovered. And remember in the summer, he tested positive for COVID-19. So I don't know if that affected him one way or another. But I think between that and the fact that the offensive line struggled all season long, I think that had a lot to do with everybody having this just assumption that he was headed downhill. I think that had a lot to do with the problems. I know the fumbling is another deal, but I think some of those fumbles that he had was because he was trying to do too much with very little available, and he got careless. So I think that looks good. Tony Pollard looked good. Dak's throwing the ball well. Michael Gallup, CD Lamb had another one of his, amazing catches where you look at today and you go, seriously, did he just do that? So from an offensive standpoint, it looks good, along with Blake Jarwin, returning from his ACL, is still doing rehab type stuff. He hasn't taken part in any of the drills, but that's on a precautionary measure. He should be good to go once training camp starts in mid to late July.
Mickey, it's I kind of feel bad for Jason Garrett in that, Dalton Schultz was really good in the offense last year, and Blake Jarwin coming back, his offense was built 2 tight ends all the time. That's obviously not what Mike McCarthy does a lot of the time, but how do you expect to see them work both those guys in? Obviously, Jarwin's more athletically talented than Dalton Schultz, but Dalton Schultz showed what he could do last year.
Oh, yeah, and I think Kellen Moore is a fan of the 2 tight end, and I think you will see that at times. And I think you'll see the Cowboys, once they get that offensive line back together again, becoming more inclined to run the football, especially if you're not falling behind like they did last year, right? If the defense is just average this year instead of poor, maybe you're not always coming from behind and you can stay with your game plan. But I could see them using both of those tight ends. And then we'll see how they kind of use the other guys, because they like the McKeon guy, a little bit more of a blocker. Offensively, think about this. If everybody's back and healthy, it's basically the offense that you wanted to have when you started the season last year, all 11 guys. And I think that would be quite a luxury if it turns out that way. And, as Brad Sham likes to say, we go to training camp to find out who's going to get hurt, right? But if they stay healthy, that's a pretty good sign that they have that entire offense returning. And really the only things they have to sort of worry about is who's the backup swing tackle and who's the backup quarterback. And right now there's 3 guys out there, and we'll see where that one goes as the offseason moves along.
Mickey, just because of history, if I see, certain names like a Randy Gregory, I just almost start to eye roll immediately just because I'm like, oh, no, what now? But I got to say, reading Mike McCarthy's comments on Randy Gregory today, those were pretty powerful and very, very positive. I mean, it looks like there's a lot of optimism for the path that Randy Gregory has been on and continues to move on.
Yeah, it seems that way. And, he wasn't and again, their guys missed some of these OTA practices. He wasn't out there today, but he was out there last week. You heard McCarthy say he's been here the entire offseason. And think about this, and I have to go look it up, but this has got to be his first offseason in years, right? Because previously he was suspended, or he was in treatment. There was no off season last year, and then he had to miss the first 6 games of the season last year. We might be able to see the Randy Gregory we thought we were going to see, or we started to see his rookie year. What would that have been, like 2015, I think? Yeah. And what I saw last week of him out there, he looked awfully, awfully good. So, between him and get DeMarcus Lawrence out there and healthy. Those 2. Think about this, you guys. When it comes to competition on the defense, to me, there's probably only 3 spots that are kind of set in stone. The 2 defensive ends, Gregory and Lawrence, and Trayvon Diggs. After that, I think it's open competition once we get to training camp with the other spots, no matter if you've had the spot before or if you haven't. But I'll tell you another guy that's moving awfully, awfully well, Leighton Vander Esch. He made a diving interception today. Michael Parsons had an interception today. It'll be interesting to see how that linebacker competition works out by time they get to the season opener.
Mickey, I think it's interesting that you said the defense just has to be average. And I love that the goal isn't to be the doomsday defense again. It's just to not be awful. Like that's an attainable goal. Just don't be awful.
No, and it should be, and it should be expected. Because think about this: we forget in 2019, and it's like, okay, they went 8-8, and everything was bad. The defense wasn't great, But when it came to yards per game, they finished 9th in the league that year. And when it came to average rushing yards per game, they were 11th. And suddenly they fall to like 24 and 31st. And the personnel didn't change that greatly. You know, I know they lost Byron Jones, but other than that, it was the same group. And so, you know, listening to Van Der Esch today, I could tell that he wanted to say more, but he remained somewhat politically correct. But you can tell he was frustrated with how they were playing defense last year and what the teaching was like or what the communication was like.
Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Mick, I know there's no confirmation in California, but I feel like it's coming anytime, and maybe we can make that happen this year.
As Mike McCarthy said, because he was talking about having a joint practice with the Rams if they go to Oxnard. He said, but I don't want to talk about it much until the entire camp gets officially stamped. Yeah. So hopefully the stamp comes here, and you know, those of us that, you know, might be here, who knows what's going to happen, right? Can start planning out the rest of our lives, right?
Yep. All right, Mickey, thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
Good to be with you guys. Take care.
All right. Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Coming up next, Craig Smoak's Off the Radar. This is SicEm365 Radio.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Allen Samuels is holding the Ram Spotlight event on the new 2021 Ram Lone Star Crew Cab trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year is built to serve. This truck is perfect for whatever your lifestyle calls for. Impressive towing, high-strength steel frame, and the smoothest, most comfortable ride of any truck. Allen Samuels located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco. Come see the Ram Lone Star Crew Cab. The Ram Spotlight event won't last long. Visit Allen Samuels today or online at allensamuelsdcj.com.
Come by. Let's be friends.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina, Smokey on vacation through Monday. Got a few topics here that we're going to touch on that we might not otherwise do, which is the point of this segment. Let's start off. Paul actually mentioned this a few minutes ago, but Women's College World Series going on. Softball has been quite good to the Oklahoma Sooners, but as you said about 30 minutes ago, today they opened Women's College World Series play in a shocking loss, losing to James Madison. James Madison, 4-3 in 8 innings. There was a controversial play apparently where, there was was the foot on the bag. It was a bang-bang play at first. It led to James Madison getting a run that helped them end up winning. The girl was clearly out, but oh well. So, number one Oklahoma, who has just kicked the dog mess out of pretty much everybody. They have taken some losses. They're not unbeaten, but they go down today. So, very interesting. They'll now at least head to the losers bracket. That's the saving grace, though, right? It's like if you're in March Madness and you lose that first game, it's over. But in softball, this would have been a much bigger story had it been one and done and the number one team in the country gets beat by James Madison. But no, they will just now instead head to the losers bracket, but they cannot afford another loss.
No.
So, that's pretty big upset-wise as far as softball goes. Patty Gasso afterward, talked to the media. Everything's fine. But, that's a big shocker right there. So, elsewhere going on in sports, Paul actually passed this along, and it's interesting because The Rock has announced months ago that he is bringing back the XFL. He has bought the XFL, was formerly owned by Vince McMahon. It's been relaunched twice. And he is going to relaunch it for a third time, but kind of like what we saw happen a couple years ago where they went from just being the NFL and the CFL to all of a sudden there was like this spring league and then there was the XFL, and it seemed like the AAFL was out there as well, and they all just shuttered. And now we're starting to grow football back, I guess, because not only is The Rock relaunching the XFL, but Fox has announced that the USFL is returning in 2022. It folded 36 years ago. So back like a phoenix, the USFL will be played once again 36 years later. Actually, I guess it'd be longer than 36 because the announcement was made today. But, they're bringing back the USFL. And, Paul, I'm always kind of torn on these things because it's like, yay, great, more opportunities. But, it's fool me once, fool me twice. We've seen all these leagues pop up and then pop right back down. So your thoughts on the return of the United States Football League?
One of the best sports books I've ever read in my life is Football for a Buck by Jeff Pearlman. It is absolutely fantastic. I've read it twice. I don't know if they don't read that book, they shouldn't start it again, because the USFL had a good thing going and they got too greedy too quick and they expanded too much and they added some owners who didn't know what they were doing. One of them would go on to become president of the United States, and his idea was that Donald Trump his idea was that they would get so good that the NFL would like annex them and add them like the ABA and the NBA. And that was not the case. The NFL won lost the antitrust suit, but essentially the league folded and they bought it for $1. Yeah. And that was it. And so they had to pay a $1 fine. And so hopefully that they come back and they do it right and they have good owners and good people running the franchises. I hope that they bring back the same cities, Memphis and all that, but they were also in some NFL cities, like Denver had 2 teams and Houston had 2 teams and, LA had 2 teams and all that. If Steve Young played for the LA Express, I'm curious to see how that happens. I think that the XFL and the CFL were getting together on like a relaunch and trying to figure that out, which I thought was kind of a neat idea to help those both leagues do it. Maybe all three of these leagues should just get together and do something.
Maybe so, yeah. It's kind of like, if there's too many leagues, then the product's going to be watered down. Yeah. And I don't know that we care to see, guys who really never had a chance at the NFL play still. I don't know. I don't know what the audience is for that. I know that it's been more miss than hit when these other leagues have started up. And I mentioned the spring league that popped up whenever all these other leagues were starting to pop up a few years ago. We all of a sudden had like 4 or 5 football leagues going on at once. Well, the guy behind the spring league is actually the co-owner of the new USFL, and he will be partnered up with Fox, obviously. They don't have any more details, but it will start in 2022. And the big downfall for the USFL the last time, so I'm hoping they're keeping in mind to play in the spring, was the fact that they tried to move to the fall. And that's ultimately what killed them, and that was also part of Donald Trump's doing as well, which there's a lot of good literature. It's a fascinating kind of backstory. So, that's going to be coming along here in 2022. So we know that streaming services are getting in the broadcast game. They are potentially going to be where we go to watch games in the future. We'll be going to Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and all of these different places. But we know Amazon Prime is going to be involved. They've been involved. But, they've got the Thursday Night Football package for the 2022-2023 season. That's when they will start being your Thursday Night Football home. And apparently they are targeting one and only Al Michaels to be the voice of Thursday Night Football on Amazon. That according to Andrew Marchand of the New York Post. They've already talked with NBC and negotiated with them a little bit. The deal could potentially include Michaels as well as some of the production people over at NBC. And they're also reportedly, Amazon that is, looking at Joe Buck or Ian Eagle to fill the role as well, but Michaels will be their focus. So Amazon trying to lure Al Michaels to come do Thursday Night Football, but if he's unavailable, then perhaps Joe Buck or Ian Eagle would be able to fill that role. We'll see. I mean, Al Michaels is going to have a say. I mean, what's the money like? Does he want to split with Romo? Does he like where he is already? But that is the plan. And obviously that would have an effect on the NBC and what they do. But what do you think? Al Michaels, Amazon, Thursday Night Football? I think eventually I believe that the Sunday night team is going to be Mike Tirico and Drew Brees. And I think that Michaels and Collinsworth have kind of had their run. I think they do a good job. But I think when you look around the other ones like Nance and Romo are so good, and Aikman and Buck are so good, and Ian Eagle is really, really, really good. They've got a lot of Kevin Harlan's fantastic. So and not that Al Michaels is an all timer, but I think maybe that's good for them to do that Thursday night and bring a little more heat to it with Al Michaels. I think it's good. Al Michaels trivia. He was traded to NBC from ABC, ESPN, Disney. And part of that package included the rights to the very first cartoon that Walt Disney did. No kidding. Yes. So, he was traded for a cartoon. It was a rabbit that looked kind of like Mickey Mouse. And then, Walt Disney changed companies, started his own company, never had the rights to that rabbit, and Mickey Mouse was born. But it always meant something to Disney to get that back for their historical records, and they made it part of the Al Michaels deal. Wow. So, maybe we can see something similar or something kind of along those lines happen because Amazon does apparently want Al Michaels. But, hey, Joe Buck, Ian Eagle would be great options as well. And that'll be interesting to see how that kind of works. I mean, I watch Amazon Prime, so it's not like it'll be any different, but it's still different than just flipping through cable and finding the NFL game. But, Amazon poised to make a big move, and we know they've got the money. The money is not going to be an issue for that company in any way, shape, or form. So about a month ago, I brought up a story. Vanessa Bryant was having a little bit of a tiff with Nike, and it was because, at the time, the story I was bringing up was that Kobe Bryant's contract had run out with Nike and that it was not renewed, and so there was kind of a discussion about, that in and of itself, and then also what is going to kind of carry his legacy moving forward. Well, Vanessa Bryant is pissed again, and it seems like we hear from her every couple of weeks, and it's always something over the Kobe Bryant brand. And the reason why she's pissed off now is because there was a custom shoe that she had made for her late daughter, Gianna Bryant. Now, the shoe that she designed was never cleared to be sold. It was just simply a design at the time. And she put out on Instagram that she had designed the shoe in honor of her daughter, but she'd never signed a contract with Nike that said they could sell the shoes. And she said it was going to be called the Mambasita. Obviously playing off her father, is going to be an exclusive black and white colorway on her father's shoes. She says she picked the colors in honor of Gianna's uniform. It had the number 2 on there. The pattern was personal, had Kobe and Gigi on the back in gold instead of like what you'd normally see on a Kobe sneaker, which would be his signature. So it was these custom shoes, and she wanted these shoes to be sold with all the proceeds going to the Mambacita Sports, or the Mamba and Mambacita Sports Foundation. But then she decided not to re-sign with Nike, so that left these shoes in a little bit of a holding pattern. So you're wondering, where does this go? Well, it goes to where apparently she came across a picture where somebody is holding these shoes. These Nike Mambacita shoes, even though she never did a deal with Nike over these, and even though she created the design. And she asked the question of, how can someone have these shoes, because I've never cleared any of this. Like, nobody should be able to own these pair of shoes. Meanwhile, in the Milwaukee and Miami Game 4 this past Saturday, one Chris Middleton of the Milwaukee Bucks is also wearing some Gianna tribute shoes. So then her mind's super blown, like, how the hell are people getting these Mambacita shoes? And so she has gone full roast mode. She's pissed. She's pissed at Nike. And this is now the second little thing we've seen occur over the last month or so. So it's just something to keep an eye on that's a little bit of interest, is Vanessa Bryant and her battle over Kobe's, shoes, legacy, what have you, and Big Bad Nike. So there will be some questions to be answered here.
Yeah. She needs to go to New Balance or Skechers.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But it is kind of weird how you design a shoe, nobody's supposed to sell them, and now you're seeing them pop up across the internet. It's just a little strange.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, though. Nike, no. Look, and Nike, listen, Nike, if you'd like to sponsor this show, we love you. But
sure.
But again, it's, it's big business, and the shoe companies do a lot of weird things.
Yeah, they do, but she's got a lot of people that are supporting her. So the mystery of how the Gianna tribute shoes are being sold or being passed around somehow or another is one that Nike is going to have to clear up, and perhaps there's a major lawsuit on the way if something like that continues to happen. We've almost had every week now for like 3 weeks a new card setting a new record, and that is the case again today. Babe Ruth, a pre-rookie card of Ruth, sold for $6 million. It is now the most expensive card ever sold, which has happened like almost every other week now. It's a picture of him in the minor leagues when he played for the Baltimore Orioles in 1914 in the International League. It lists him as a pitcher only, and he was eventually with the Red Sox later that season. But this card is apparently one of fewer than 10 that are known to be in existence. So $6 million for this very rare Babe Ruth card, now the most expensive card ever sold.
Well, he was the greatest that ever played baseball. Yes. So, and his story in the, in an orphanage in Baltimore to the Orioles, to the Red Sox is really, really just unbelievable. So, yeah, $6 million.
I'm hoping I have a $6 million card somewhere in my stack, but I know that I do not. So, yeah, anyways, I find the card game, it's something that was an afterthought for a long time, and now it's kind of cool just to see that cards matter again, and they're going for such big money. And we don't typically talk hockey on this show, but Bruins-Islanders tonight, Game 3, 6:30 NBC Sports Network. It's tied up 1 apiece. Hurricanes and Lightning at 7 on ESPN. Lightning leading that series 2-0. And there are a few stories that are off the radar.
The Lightning are my adopted team now.
Cool.
Like for this playoffs. No Stars in it. My girlfriend's a big Preds fan. They're out. They lost to the Hurricanes. So I used to live in Tampa, so we've adopted the Lightning.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so go Bolts. All right, when we come back, Jason King, SicEm365.com. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Nice little dive to the rim. Oh, wow. Chachua.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak.
Welcome back into SicEm365 Radio. Jason King, one of our contributors at SicEm365.com, also does a great podcast with Ashley Hodge on the field of 68.com, and you can go there. Jason, this has been kind of a wild week in college basketball, I guess, or in the middle of the week when you start thinking about no more Mike Krzyzewski at Duke in a year. What do you think the ripple effect is at Duke with Mike Krzyzewski gone?
Well, I do think it'll hurt their brand a tad, maybe in the short term. But I think John Shire comes in and does a good job and kind of continues or kind of maintains the culture that Mike Krzyzewski's established there. Then maybe it won't be too big of a hit. The thing is, though, it's just we can all get a little annoyed with Coach K over the years. He kind of wore on me a little bit as a reporter and even as a viewer at times. But at the end of the day, man, the guy's an elite coach. He's one of the top, 2 or 3 coaches, if not the best coach to ever coach college basketball. So, John Shire's got a heck of a task ahead of him. It's going to be hard to maintain, what he did at that high of a level year after year after year. So, I don't know what the ripple effect will be, but I do think that, Duke will still be a highly, regarded program, but they'll probably dip a little bit without question.
Jason, I saw where Baylor signees are freshmen now. Kendall Brown and Langston Love were among 27 players invited to attend the Under-19 World Cup training camp for USA Basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this last weekend, everybody started to arrive on campus. Just what's kind of the feel, the buzz, what have you, about the newcomers and what they're bringing to the table?
Yeah, it's crazy, because we're 2 months away from the title, and a lot of times, attention shifts to football, and rightfully so, it should. But I just love how everyone is still talking about basketball, not just the championship, but what's ahead next season. I mean, people, there's as much of a buzz about basketball right now as I've ever seen in the off season, and rightfully so. They're going to be bringing so much back. But like every year at every school, everyone wants to talk about the newcomers. I remember when I covered Kansas every year, it was like they want to talk about these incoming McDonald's All-Americans and highly rated freshmen, and that's fine. But I think at the end of the teams, it's your veterans and your returnees that are going to keep you afloat in the immediate future or whatever. So I do think Kendall Brown though is going to be a guy that contributes heavily. If he doesn't start, I think he'll be the first, guard off the bench. But he's not coming to Baylor to come off the bench. He's coming to start. I think he probably will. And obviously, Akinjo from Arizona, if he gets his waiver, you got to pencil him in as a starter as well. I believe he's already on campus. So those are the two newcomers I see having the biggest impact. I do think see a little Langston Love off the bench at times, but man, what an exciting time for Baylor basketball.
We had Jared Butler on the other day. Where do you rank him all time, Baylor basketball players?
I rank him number one. I really do. And I mentioned this the other day to someone, but just his overall body of work. I mean, I think there is an argument that can be made at the end of the year. Davion Mitchell is the best player on Baylor's team. He's going to get drafted higher. He was certainly impacting the game in a major way. But Butler, ended up being the Final Four MVP. When you look at what he did over 3 years, man, just in terms of not just winning, but just establishing a culture, representing Baylor away from the court. I mean, being a good ambassador for the entire school. I mean, what a neat thing it is after years and years of negativity that it just rained down on Baylor to now be able to trot that guy out on national TV. This is Baylor University. This is Baylor basketball. I think he's got to go down as not just the best Baylor player in history, but the best, probably one of the best top 2 or 3 Baylor athletes in history, in terms of what he accomplished while he was in Waco.
Any surprise on your end, Jason? I mean, I think there was some chatter, how fans can be, that, the longer it dragged on, maybe that means that he's thinking about it, but it seemed like he had pretty much made up his mind. So was there any surprise on your end?
Not really. I mean, I think, the chatter was maybe a little bit of hope, like false hope. I had it a little bit myself, but, as long as he feels good about what he's hearing or the feedback he's getting, especially in terms of medical stuff and everything, I think he's ready to go. So, sometimes it's, you win that title and it's just, it's like if he came back, it would be just so hard. They could have a great season and lose in the Elite Eight or something, and then you feel like you've let everyone down. I mean, it's just hard to top that. There's something to be said for going on top, especially when you have a chance to be a first-round draft pick. So I don't really blame him. I think mentally he's probably moved on, and I understand that. So, but I just hope, and I think he will be a guy that, is back in Waco a lot. I mean, I'm sure there'll be different ways to honor him over the years, all sorts of reunions, and who knows when maybe after he's done with his NBA career, he comes back and somehow affiliates himself with Baylor in some way. So I just feel lucky to have covered him. And I don't forget, man, like end of his freshman year after Tristan Clark got hurt, he started playing a lot of minutes, and I was having an off-season call. I was talking to Bill Self, actually. I was trying to choose the preseason all-conference team heading into Butler's sophomore year for Athlons. And I just remember I told Bill, so I said, I think Butler's going to be the best guard that's ever played for Scott Drew. And he goes, I totally agree. He goes, he is smooth. And I don't think nationally people were catching on yet to him, Athlons magazine wanted me to put Tristan Clark first team, and they kind of forced me to, as I'm telling you guys, this Butler guy is so good at it. His sophomore year, he just exploded. So, man, he was good. He was good. What a find by Baylor, and what a big deal that was to get him from Alabama.
All right, the last question, you brought up Bill Self. He has, just dominated the transfer portal this offseason. And they kind of needed that. I mean, with the pending kind of NCAA stuff hanging over them, of course, who the hell knows when that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, and they weren't very good, besides that.
Yeah. They were not up to Kansas's standards, but how do you feel that this lineup that he's about to put together will take on the Big 12 next year after a down year for Kansas, which doesn't happen that often?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it depends on whether they get Jalen Wilson and that Ochai Agbaji back. They're both tinkering with entering the draft, whatever. They haven't announced yet. Unless I've missed it. But if they come back there and then you mix in all those transfers, they'll be really good. I mean, they'll be a top 3 team and they'll contend for the title. I mean, they contended. I mean, they were a top 2 or 3 team last year and they sucked for the most part. So I just think he's a phenomenal coach. But the thing is, like with all these transfers, like, people see Baylor having success with some guys like Teague and stuff. Man, and I think they just think it's easy. It's not. I mean, Kansas bringing in 5 or 6 transfers, whatever they did, that are all kind of expected to play a little bit. That's tough. I mean, like just because you get some good players, man, that's not all there is to it. I mean, you got to find a way to get them to gel and and have some cohesion there. And Bill Self being a really hard nosed kind of defensive coach, he's got to get those guys to buy in to play how he wants them to play. I mean, just because you show up to the blacktop with a bunch of studs doesn't always mean you're going to win. I mean, how are they going to get along? How are they going to react to being benched? I mean, so the whole transfer portal thing, I mean, is good, but especially if you're bringing in 1 or 2 guys and making red shirt and kind of learn the culture and like Teague did, like Mitchell did. But I mean, some of these schools, I mean, Texas is another one. I mean, like, how many, we watched Chris Beard bring in tons of transfers at Texas Tech, especially after they made I'm talking about mainly over the past 2 seasons. They didn't do as well, did they? I mean, like, I forgot, I mean, I can't remember all their names, but they had a lot of guys that were supposed to be these highly touted. Yeah. And McClung was one. And the kid the year before from Stephen F. Austin, the big center. They had the Wichita State transfer this past year, didn't do much. Samarius Burton, I believe it was. So it's not easy, but they also had some success with some guys. Matt Mooney, when they went to the Final Four, he was good. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But just to think it's automatically going to happen because you brought in some random dude from Rutgers or whatever, or Drake, I mean, it's about more than that. So, the good coaches, though, usually find a way to make it work.
What do you think? What do you think about the announcement yesterday? Baylor Villanova, a little Sweet 16 rematch.
Oh man, I'm excited. Hopefully Villanova doesn't find a reason to back out like they did this past season. But I'm sure they'll play it. And Villanova's going to be really good, man. They're bringing a lot back, and so is Baylor. So I think Baylor's overall schedule is. I mean, I was excited for it this past year, and obviously they kind of got screwed up with some stuff. But I'm excited for just the whole schedule this year. That Battle for Atlantis tournament's going to be great. I believe they're going to Oregon. Villanova coming to town. So but teams as good as Baylor should play, top 5, top 10 schedules. And I'm glad to see Scott Drew's doing it. For years and years, he got ripped on for his schedule. And, but he had a plan. He was trying to build a program, and you got a schedule to have some success when you're trying to build and create some momentum from your fan base and things like that. So they did that for a while, but now they're a top 10 program perennially, and they should be scheduled this way.
Jason King, SicEm365. Jason, thanks for hopping on with us. Talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Hope to see you soon. Thanks.
All right. Jason King, one of our great contributors to SicEm365.com. He and I have an ongoing restaurant text back and forth on travel. He's like, that's one of the things that kind of delineates us, me and Smokey, when we're on the road. And you're like, Craig's great because he's just game for anything. But
I'm so simple, man. I really do they have burgers and fries? Okay, cool. We can go there. I don't care.
But I like to try stuff that you can't get in your hometown. But if there's a P.F. Chang's in that town, we go every night. But believe me, I know when we stayed in Scottsdale, Arizona, we ate at P.F. Chang's out of 5 nights 4 times.
Yeah.
I think we went to a Red Robin the other night. Of course, there's not many unique, Scottsdale's one of those towns that's all there is P.F. Chang's and Red Robins. But yeah, Jason King and I mean, if there's a unique, good restaurant in the city, it's automatically texted the other one. So
I do want to make a mention of a couple things, and you and Jason are the go-tos for the restaurant recommendations for sure. I meant to mention this, and we just ran short on time during the Off the Radar segment, but it was worth mentioning, and now I'm trying to find it again. From good old Scotty B. The NCAA, and this, like I said, meant to mention this, but NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel today approved moving the 3-point line in women's basketball to the international distance of 22 feet 1 3/4 inches, starting with the 2021-22 season. So, the 3-point line now going to the international line for women's basketball.
They talked about that for a little bit. Glad they're finally doing it. I'll tell you one thing. Women's basketball is not afraid to change the rules. Men's basketball, really slow in the NCAA to change things. The women went to 4 quarters, which I wish the men would do.
I wish they would too. I actually like the 4 quarters a lot.
I like the 4 quarters. I think the way that basketball has evolved now, the 20-minute halves can get really tense and exciting, but I like the way breaking it up.
I do too. And also, Mansfield has officially announced the hiring of Jeff Hume. I mean, that's not a surprise. We already knew that. We've already talked about it. Talked about it 2 hours ago. But they now put out a tweet officially welcoming him to Mansfield Legacy High School. So, bon voyage, Jeff Hume. Thanks for all your time over the years. Good luck to you. Hopefully run into you again one day. But now excited to see the head coach I'll be talking to on the sidelines next year, because it will not be Jeff Hume as we return to Midway broadcasts.
Yeah, love Coach Hume. Love everything he did. He's a fantastic guy. Mansfield Legacy's getting a great coach and a great human being. And maybe we'll have Jeff tomorrow to talk about what made his decision. He's got to talk to the Midway players first, before he talks to chatterheads like us.
That makes some sense.
Yeah. When we come back, we are going to re-rack the Scott Drew interview we had yesterday. He came on to talk about his nomination of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, and
I'm telling you, dude, if you're, I think Jason hit the nail on the head that I don't remember talking this much basketball, especially in an off season ever, and I've been here close to 8 years now, I think. So it's crazy to be talking, off season basketball with the enthusiasm and expectations that we are. That's awesome. But I mean, just to be able to hear Scott Drew, he is just always a good listen, and always, the nicest guy. But it's just cool to hear him hit on all these peaks that they're hitting right now. Just that it's such a great time for Baylor men's basketball, and he's got a lot of goodies in here too. He talks the arena, or the pavilion, excuse me. He talks Nikki Collin. He talks the roster. He talks Jared Butler's decision. So all of the juicy stuff that we've been mentioning about Baylor men's basketball, all the stories that have been out, he touches on pretty much all of them.
I think you're seeing it now with the recruits that are coming in and the people that they're getting, is that for a long time, Scott Drew was selling a dream. Well, now it's a reality, and he was great at selling that dream. And to hear him to be able to talk about, I just think about, he was so enthusiastic and believed so much in that dream that it would have been hard for me to tell him no. I think there are some big-time players that came in for visits just because Scott convinced him to. John Wall came through and had a visit here, and ultimately, went to Kentucky. I mean, that wasn't.
Paul, why are you trying to bring up bad stuff?
It was never going to happen. But he was getting guys to come and take visits. That normally Baylor wouldn't have gotten because of his enthusiasm. Now those guys are probably walking away committing, and because of the dream is a reality. And so imagine a guy with superpowers who he's kind of like a reverse Thanos. He's got all the Infinity Stones now, and there's no, what can you say?
There's no excuses. I mean, and not that he ever used excuses, but just there's no reason, I should say, rather than saying no excuses. But there's no reason for them to not blossom even further and just get bigger and bigger and more successful, because there's new avenues opened up to them now that were not available prior to this year. I mean, that's what winning a national title does. That's what having a new arena on the way does. That's what having guys going to the NBA. I mean, Scott Drew's got to be as excited, just not on a personal level for the Davion Mitchells and the Jared Butlers, but on a selfish level, he's going to get payoff from that. He's going to get payoff from Davion Mitchell being a lottery pick. He's going to get payoff from Jared Butler probably being a first-round pick. So, I mean, the ship is going up, man. I mean, it's on a great track right now, and you're going to love hearing Scott Drew and just how happy he is, and the fact that he's happy, and it's not forced. It's just who he is, but it's also because things are going so well. That's a big part of why he's so happy. And I do want to make mention, because I know we have to go. The USFL Project on Twitter actually, I guess, heard the segment and said the new USFL, not a relaunch. It's a brand new United States Football League. So I guess maybe I said relaunch, and I apologize, but it's a brand new USFL. It's not taking over for the old brand. But the USFL Project on Twitter, thank you for that clarification. And I'll mention that moving forward.
I'm going to try to get Jeff Perlman on the show to talk about the old USFL.
I think he's in the middle of writing another book.
He's got great books, and Football for a Buck is one of the best sports books I've ever written. It was so engaging and so good and so funny, and the stories in that book. I mean, he talked to Mark talked to our friend Mark Addix is in the book, former Baylor player. I mean, he talked to him and about the USFL, and so the chapter on the San Antonio Gunslingers, which is the worst run sports franchise maybe in the history of sports.
What a great name.
Yeah, I have a San Antonio Gunslingers t-shirt because of that segment. Of course, that part of the book, I Googled online and got one. And people asked me why I have that, and I said, because it's a reminder that there are worse teams in sports than the ones that you like. And that's why. Plus, their logo was like this skinny cowboy. They had just terrible green colors. But it's one of my favorite shirts.
They had some cool nicknames. They really did. I'm looking back at the old USFL rosters. It's borderline arena league in some ways, but there's some LA Express is a cool name.
The Houston Gamblers, man.
Dallas Gamblers too.
Yeah, Dallas and then the Memphis. What was Memphis?
There's a boats thing, right?
Yeah, the river. Yeah,
Memphis
river boats, showboats.
Like
it's just all good stuff. All right, when we come back, Scott Drew from yesterday. It's a great interview. We had to re-rack it for you because Scott's always great. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, they've been going long and strong here during this entire pandemic era that we've been living in over the last year. That has not shut down their dealership. Their dealership has remained open. The doors are open, but they're still keeping in mind the fact that people may, want to set up a test drive instead outside of coming to the showroom. So that is an option for you as well if you're still a little bit unsure about things. But if you do go to the showroom, you can rest assured everything's clean, disinfected, nice, and all of that. And really, but getting that out of the way, the focus is, of course, the car. So if you're looking for a new car or even a used car, there is no better place to go than Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. We've got traveling season right in front of us. It's going on right now. People are getting back out on the road. They're traveling. They're going with their families. And so while you're, traveling and you're looking for some savings, how about the savings you can find at Richard Carr? You can get back on the road and go traveling with the sophistication and luxury of a Buick right now at Richard Carr. They've got Buick SUVs that are all priced to move. For example, you can save $5,900 on 2021 Encores. Save $4,500 on Encore GXs, $3,900 on midsize Buick Envisions. They've also got the Buick Enclave. It's a perfect family travel vehicle. It's got affordability. That's always important. It's also got luxury and space and 3 rows of first-class seating plus a smooth, quiet ride. Right now, save $8,500 on all 2021 Buick Enclaves in stock. And Richard Carr also has a full lot of premium pre-owned cars and trucks. All pre-owned cars and trucks are priced to move during the Memorial Day savings event with multiple cars priced under $200 a month for qualified buyers. And Richard Carr is your local Waco family dealer. They take pride in serving their neighbors, and they want to earn your business with great prices, free oil changes, superior service after the sale. So come by their clean and disinfected showroom to take a test drive, or as I mentioned at the beginning, and as they've been doing for many months now, still unsure about going inside, give them a ring, set it up, and they will bring the test drive to you. Now that's pretty great service. It's a Memorial Day savings event going on all month at Richard Carr.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Texas Sports Hall of Fame has their annual meeting the first Tuesday every June. This year they moved it back to Wednesday, and I was not able to be a part of it, but a lot of incredible sports media people are part of it, and it was released. And one of the new names on the ballot as a possibility of induction down the road to the Texas Sports Hall of Fame is Baylor men's basketball coach, national championship head coach Scott Drew. The Texas Sports Hall of Fame is right down the road where you play your games. What does that mean to you?
It's a tremendous honor and blessing to be nominated, and at the same time, those are team awards. And what team awards mean is if it wasn't for the team's success, there would be no nomination. So really, it's a staff and players honor, administration honor, everyone in the same boat.
What have the last couple months been like as when you get introduced as national champion?
That's a really good introduction. I like that introduction. So that's first and foremost. I tell you, it's a great blessing because the platform is so much bigger for Baylor basketball, Baylor University. It gives you an opportunity to just spread the good news about Baylor and what Baylor is about, what Baylor has done and is doing.
Coach, we had Jared Butler on yesterday to talk about his decision to enter the NBA draft. He said that obviously he talked it over with you guys. I'm sure it didn't come as much of a surprise, but just on your end, Jared Butler moving on to the next level, what are your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, if you're going to leave a school, I don't know if there's a better way to leave it than Jared did. So we always talk about leaving everything better than you found it. And he broke a number of firsts, first All-American, and not only first Player of the Year, Big 12 Player of the Year, but more importantly, the lives that he touched from teaching Sunday school, being a great spiritual leader on our team with different organizations on Baylor's campus, being on the Division I council and representing all the student athletes. I mean, Jared is one of those all-around guys that when he's done playing basketball, if he's a governor, a senator, the next president, you're never surprised because he's such a great servant and somebody that is giving back in so many different areas and really cares about people and has such a great head on his shoulders and articulates so well.
You knew that Butler, Maceo, Davion, and Mark most likely were gone, and some of them moving on. Can you think about a clump of four that could ever leave that had that kind of an impact on a program?
I tell you, very, very, very few ever do, especially you look at it from twofold. One, academically, the success they've all had. Two, you look at just the first that they're leaving behind. A lot of times you have four players that might win a championship, but to have so many firsts, like the first national championship, the first Big 12 conference championship. Now, we won a conference championship, but it was in 1950. I mean, again, a lot of firsts they achieved and then did it in such a class manner, such great role models, such great representatives for the university. Their interviews are outstanding, and Mark leaves as the winningest Big 12 basketball player, and rightfully so and fitting so. I mean, in today's society where very few people stay 1 year to the next year, I mean, he's been a part of our program since 2013 when he committed. So somebody that has really been behind Baylor and helped Baylor be so successful in so many different areas.
Scott, we had Mark in the studio last week, and it was an unbelievably great interview and talked about his kind of whole journey with Baylor. He's one of those guys that thought he was one thing as a basketball player and then grew into another one. For him in particular, what was that like watching his journey of understanding what he was as what his true talent was and where he needed to go, and him letting go of what he thought was his future as a player?
Well, and that's what coaching is all about. And what I mean by that is when you get a chance to work with someone long enough to where they're able to grow on and off the court at the same rate. And I mean, someone that comes in, and a lot of times you have freshmen come in and think that they're the person that's going to score. I mean, if you polled all the college freshmen next year, the common answer would be leading scorer on the team and one and done. And we know that everybody that comes in can't be the leading scorer, and they all can't be one and done. So fitting in on a role with the team, embracing that role, starring in that role, caring about the right things, and being such a servant to the team. I mean, that's what Mark did. And when you work with people long enough, hopefully they grow into that where they're a star in their role and they embrace their role and they do whatever a team needs to win. And then you look at it, first one in his family to graduate, such a success story in the classroom. And I mean, when he first came to Baylor, I know he wanted a degree, but probably thought he'd be more a one and done than get his degree, and to see the excitement and the joy because he knows how hard he had to work for that degree, and to know that that's with him the rest of his life, which is awesome.
Coach, you were able to welcome in some new players this past weekend. It's moving in time, and so the likes of Kendall Brown and Langston Love and James Akinjo and Jeremy Sohan, you've got all these new guys coming in. How exciting is that, and how excited are you to finally get these guys you've been recruiting so long onto campus?
Well, extremely exciting from the standpoint, in the summertime, things it's a transition period in May. Not many people are around, and then all of a sudden you get the freshmen here, the first-time players here, and there's just new excitement, new energy. This week they'll go through a bunch of tests. Like physicals and all the stuff they have to do academically, get all their body scans, and then we get to start working with them starting next week. So we can't wait for that. And that's also another thing is the transition from those 4 guys that are leaving. We spent so much time and energy working with them, and excited to see where their careers take them now. But now you have a new group coming in that. There's something about working with people for the first time. You're excited, they're excited, and again, you get to start that journey again and just see how far and how much they can improve and where it takes them.
Scott, I want to go back to the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. I know it's right now. It's your name is on the ballot. You mentioned all these awards are team awards and how you have built the culture there, but. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, there are names on this ballot that are monstrous names that have been around in different sports as well. You don't seem like someone who gets caught up in that at all. But what has it been like to get the attention you've received since you won the national title? Because you're the same person you were before you won it.
Well, the great thing is it allows us to give credit where it rightfully belongs, starting with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and then others, and others are the staff and the players, because again, those are the people that make it all possible. So anytime you get honored or people talk highly of what you've done, you get a chance to deflect it on the people that deserve it the most.
Coach, I know recruiting is challenging and difficult and all that, but last year had to be just even more ridiculous with not being able to do a lot of things you had to do, like camps, which I know you and your staff really love and enjoy, and even if not for the recruiting, just for the community aspect of it. How excited are you to get back to normal and do normal recruiting things that can highlight Baylor and your program?
Well, you're extremely excited to be able to do some things that you took for granted before, meaning people wanted to come by campus and you could show them around at any drop of a hat, or that you could have a chance to go out and watch recruits live. And that obviously we all adjusted well to what we needed to do to make it a safe environment for everyone. But at the same time, it makes it so much nicer when you love people, and like when people get a chance to drive by and just stop in and say hello. You get to give them a hug, show them around if you haven't seen them in a while. That's something that all of us really enjoy. And if you didn't enjoy it, you wouldn't be in coaching, because coaching is about people and relationships.
Coach, I don't know if we've asked you before, and there's still obviously details to sort out with the new basketball field house, but it seems to be on track, and like I said, still some things to sort out. But just for you, what does that field house and the potential of it mean for you and the program, and just what you guys can do moving forward?
It's going to be huge, not only for our program, but Baylor University, Central Texas, and again, I think it'll give us a great home court advantage where fans will really want to come to the games and be a part of it, and they'll have a sense of being right on top of the atmosphere. And there's just something exciting about a new pavilion that excites everybody. So again, it's a win not just for our basketball team, but for Baylor University, Central Texas, Waco as well. So can't wait for that to keep moving. One day when Smokey comes out for game day and he's got his RV, instead of cooking out for just one person, he's going to have a whole parking lot of people filled for him.
Still, when that day, remember that, Paul?
I remember, Scott, I'll tell you. So Smokey's idea was we're going to sleep in there all night. My apartment was 3 minutes down the street at that time. Yeah. All night long, the wind was blowing and shaking that RV. At about 3 o'clock in the morning, I said, to heck with it, I'm going home. I'll see you guys at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, that was you driving up in that golf cart with those whatever that
crazy wings.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was like an oasis. I was like, oh my God, it was fantastic. and that was so cool. That was so cool. Last thing from me, you have a picture of your office and things all spread out for people to see. The the newcomers and even the transfers. I saw Didier put up a picture of the practice gym, the facility. What is that like to have that swag that you can now pass on from, okay, this is what we've done, let's not lose our hunger and let's stay focused? How much does that help?
Oh, it's like having a great meal. Once you have a great meal, you want another great meal. And when you win a championship, it drives you that much more to have another championship. And the good thing is, everybody that plays sports usually wants to be a part of a winning program, and they want to have success. And what our players have done and our staff has been able to help them do, and not just in recent time, but I mean to be the only Power 5 school, us in Kansas, to win 18 or more since 2008. In the last 5 years, to be ranked number 1 3 of 5 years, and it's only 4 programs have done that. So we've been consistently good. It hasn't just been a one hit wonder. In the last 2 years, the winningest program in Power 5 and winningest program in the country. But like I said, it goes further than that with the postseason success we've had since 2012. So again, a lot of years, a lot of success. And players normally want to be a part of winning programs, and they want to enjoy that. So hopefully we'll keep getting players that fit our culture and keep putting the team first and winning a lot of games and having your fans have a chance to have great memories. And wherever we have the pavilion established, we make sure we got that parking spot for you, Smokey, with the RV, and it's a wrap, all right? Just remember that.
No matter where it's located, we will be there. No question about it. No matter where it's located.
Hey, Coach, you've got a new neighbor for the first time there in the arena with you, Nikki Collin, the new Lady Bears head basketball coach. What's it been like just to meet her, get to know her a little bit? I know she's busy putting her staff together and getting things done, but your initial impressions of Nikki Collin.
Well, first of all, anyone that Mac hires is going to be a great fit for Baylor University, and Nikki believes in preparing champions for life, and she's about Baylor University's mission. And the one thing that any of you that have had a chance to meet her, it only takes about 2 seconds to realize she's got a great personality, a high character, and someone that will really fit in well and do a great job. And I know our staff's really enjoyed getting to know her and work with the staff that she's brought in. And it's great to have Sophia back, and they're going to continue their dominance. And for those that haven't had a chance to meet her, you're really going to enjoy her.
Coach, look, I know again, RV game we could do this year right now before the new pavilion and anything. Villanova coming to Waco, and Jay Wright. You don't even get that long between the times you see them in the tournament and then early in the season.
Yeah, I think he'll be pretty excited to play us again. And the great thing is, I know we'll be excited too, because we have such great respect for their program. And again, that's 3 out of the last 4 national championships have been won by their program and ours. So you're getting the best of the best in the last 4 years. And the only way to be the best is you got to beat the best, and you got to play the best to get better. And both of our teams, regardless of the outcome, will improve from that game. And to have them in front of our home crowd is a great honor, and it's a great privilege representing the Big 12. So I know we'll be excited to put our best foot forward.
Scott, if you don't mind, one more follow-up on what Craig asked about Nikki Collin. She mentioned that your conversation with her was a huge part of a reason why she felt like Baylor was the right fit. Did you realize that when you were talking to her?
No, but it's great to know that you can have a positive impact on anyone's decision to come to Baylor, because we know what a special place it is, and I know we'll do whatever we can to help her be successful. And that's what's so good about Baylor University. It's a special family environment, and the coaches all pull for one another, all help for one another, all sacrifice for one another. And I know iron sharpens iron. We all make each other better, and we share ideas and thoughts, and excited about that.
Coach K's retiring.
A lot of news today, huh?
I know. I mean, 2 huge names in Roy Williams and Coach Krzyzewski all both leaving the game. Coach K has another year left. Is it amazing when you see names like that move on?
Well, they're going to move on at some point because they're getting up in age. But when they actually do, you reflect back and you're how thankful and blessed of being able to learn from them and study under them. You spend time recruiting against them or with them on the road. And Coach Williams and I spent a lot of time together. I mean, I love Coach Williams, and Coach K I didn't have a chance to know as well, but we recruited against him, and obviously we played one time against him, and we've been trying to play a second time ever since that one time, and hopefully we get a chance at some point to play him this year, because that's how you get better, is playing against the best. And I know we're 0-1. We'd love to have a chance to even that up. Yeah. But he's done so much for the game and so much for the USA team and college athletics overall. So definitely gonna miss him, but appreciate all his contributions and what he's done. And following when we won it all this year, I was able to be on his podcast and got to talk with him after the podcast as well. And just really appreciative of his willingness to share his expertise and his knowledge and his thoughts and answer the questions I had. And I'll always be appreciative of that.
And people are appreciative of what you've done, Scott. Continued luck. Congratulations on being on that ballot for the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, and thanks for jumping on the show with us today. Great to hear from you.
Appreciate you guys. You take care. All right, hey, and the great thing is stop by sometime and say hello, Smokey.
All right. You got it.
All right, Paul. Hey, keep him under. Hey, you got the tough job of keeping him under wraps today. All right.
I do all the time. Craig's here to back me up though, so it's good.
Okay, you got to double team him.
Thank you, Coach. Scott Drew.
Take care, you too.
Scott Drew, head basketball coach at Baylor, with us on SicEm365.
1, 2. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. He cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house-cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
Brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club. The goal is a month from now that it'll be open. So they're working like the dickens to get it open. We've got a show, an improv show back at Rogue Media Network on June 11th. Go to slapstickscomedy.com to get it. And in the spirit of our sponsor, top 5 current working stand-up comics. I'm not going to go, like I could do all-timers, and we'll do that one day. But I'm going to do working comics today. Guys who are out there doing stuff and working. All right. Craig, very interested to hear your thoughts on some of these guys.
I hope I know some.
Yeah, I think you'll know. They're all, 3 of them are huge, huge names. Number 5, and I think he's the big name in his own right, rocking up popularity. My good friend, Roy Wood Jr., he and I actually started out together in Tallahassee. He is one of the, and I'm just not just saying that because we are friends. If you watch his stuff, he is doing great stuff now. Hilarious stuff. He's got a lot of good acting gigs. Just stand-up is really good, socially conscious, but not preachy, and just a hilarious dude.
I don't know that I've ever seen him. Obviously comedy this last year really went to the wayside because of, lack of being able to do stand-up and things like that. He looks familiar, though, so I'm sure I've probably seen some of his stuff. He's
been on The Daily Show for the last few years. So,
okay. But, Florida State, I listen to a podcast that's, more of like a true crime horror type of podcast. Henry Zabrowski's a Florida State guy. Roy Wood's a Florida State guy.
He's Florida A&M, actually.
Florida A&M, okay.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of... talent that apparently has come out of that area.
Bert Kreischer is from Florida State, and Bert almost made this list. Number 4, this is a guy you may have heard of. He's quite frequently on with Joe Rogan now, Tim Dillon. I got a chance to see Tim Dillon in New York City. It's one of the best 15-minute sets I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
It was so good. He was so funny, and his crowd work was so good, and he is a bit of a conundrum, the guy. I mean, like, as far as, like, when you listen to him and you find out what things about him, but his views and his things are, he contradicts, things that you would think. He's awesome. He's really funny. He's not afraid to say anything at all. On Joe Rogan's podcast all the time. Really, really fantastic stand-up comic. Number 3, and really the only truly clean comic on this list, Jim Gaffigan. Jim Gaffigan did 2 specials this last year that he did the material just about the city he was in. And it was great. And the fact that was so hard to do, it's so hard to do, to write an hour on just, I'm doing a show in Montreal or wherever he was in Canada. And he did just jokes about Canada for an hour. He did a couple of those. They're on Amazon Prime. I highly recommend them.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan's really funny. I enjoy his style. He's definitely got kind of his own lane. And, they do that to be that specific about a place and have to come up with a whole routine. That's pretty damn talented.
Favorite story about Jim Gaffigan, he told this on Comedians in Cars with Jerry Seinfeld, is that he's Catholic, and so when the Pope came to New York City, he opened for the Pope, essentially. And his closing line was the best thing I've ever heard in my life, and it was, Thanks for coming out. Stick around. Please stick around for the Pope.
Stick around for the Pope.
Yeah. Please stick around for the Pope. And it's unbelievably good. Number 2, the angriest dude on this list, Bill Burr. And if you have not watched some of Bill Burr's stuff, I mean, he loves
to piss off people by just speaking the truth. Basically,
yeah.
He likes to shoot holes through a lot of this very politically correct world that we're living in right now, where you can't offend anybody. And I get that there's probably some pulling back that needed to be done. Like, you can't have people just like going on an assault on like Asian people or something like that. But there are a lot of like politically correct things in this country right now that he loves to shoot holes through, and I love it.
His SNL monologue mentioned John Wayne, and he's like, "Why are we canceling John Wayne? Didn't God do that in 1973?" Yeah. I mean, he's
rough.
Yeah, I mean, but it's true. Like, and people came at him for that, but he's like, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
And the ultimate guy who doesn't care, and the best working stand-up comic, and this guy's in the top 5 all time, maybe now, is Dave Chappelle. Chappelle's stuff has gotten so, like, my grading of a comic is, he did specials 20, 25 years ago that not only hold up today, but are not exactly what he's doing now. It's different and it's grown, and he's done 5 specials in 2 years or something like that, and that's really hard to do. It's all different material, and he did the 3 that were tied together, and then the last one he did I thought was one of the best things I've ever seen. And the thing is, I know a comic is doing well when they write a bunch of articles about, well, this was just too hard for me to sit there, like, okay, you're not getting it, and I don't think, like, I agree with, like, look, sometimes jokes don't age well and things don't age well, and that's fine, you move on, but, like, not being afraid to, like, call things out, like, and that's what Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr are really, Tim Dillon too, and Roy, but not being afraid to call things out, that's exactly what they
I love Dave Chappelle. He doesn't like the whole woke culture either, so to speak. Just basically, I think his definition of it is kind of the way that I look at it as well. People hear that woke, that word, and they have like a certain idea in their mind, but it's really just pushing back against being pushed on all the time, and that's kind of his perspective on it. And I kind of look at it that way as well. It's pushing back on being pushed. And so, yeah, he's had some really good stuff. I know he was in Austin for forever. Has he done, like, I know he had to like cancel shows there because of COVID, then he came back.
Yeah.
So that was a while ago.
He was just there. I mean, a month ago, I think he was on with Rogan forever. Okay. So
yeah, he's been hanging around Austin a lot. And now, Rogan's moved there, and that's kind of been a little hot spot. So Dave Chappelle, I definitely am not surprised to see him at number 1.
Yeah. Tim Dillon, I'm going to tell you, number 4 on that list you may not have heard of is Tim Dillon. I highly recommend looking up Tim Dillon. He's hilarious, really funny guy, really does some smart stuff. And my good friend Roy from The Daily Show, again, we need to get Roy out here on the show one day.
Sure.
That'll be fun. So Roy's got a lot of great, like, he and I had a lot of great sports talks back in the day. And he had a joke when we were doing stand-up together when Michael Jordan first got divorced, that he was worried that the new Jordan's logo was just going to be Juanita holding the checkbook. And so,
man, that made me just forget. I should have put it in off the radar. It was another story I didn't have time for, but Jay Cutler fighting back against Kristen Cavallari, and he's actually the one requesting money in the split, which I think is beautiful. And I think that for far too long in marriages, it's always been 99% beneficial to the woman, even if she's at fault. Like, it doesn't even matter. And I love that somebody's finally going, all right, well, we're checking all these boxes and all the things that are not exactly equal, and we're doing that. How about we do take a look at something else? And that is the way it works when people get divorced. And so Jay Cutler,
he wants half her company.
He wants half of, but he put money in to start the company. So there was a big tiff over that. And man, some of the replies from some women who have always had it, and this doesn't go for all ladies, obviously, but you can tell the ones who always felt like the old way was the best way. And what's this whole sharing thing now? Like, wait a second. So that was funny to see. Thank you, Jay Cutler, for some funny Twitter banter over your decision.
I did see that him, like, one of the better tweets I saw was he wants half the company because it's the only way he'll get a ring. But
yeah, it did lead. There was some. I think I had tried to bookmark a couple of them. They were fantastic. They were funny as hell over his decision to do that. But yeah, that was another thing I intended to mention during Off the Radar. But oh well, we got to it anyways.
Yeah, I have no idea what we're doing for the show tomorrow. I mean, as far as guests go, we'll probably try to get Jeff Hume, but. Something'll come up. It certainly came in rapid succession today. So we'll be back tomorrow for the Friday edition of SicEm365 Radio. Thanks to Bump, thanks to Jack, thanks to Armstrong, thanks to Jeff, thanks to David Smoak, thanks to Scott Drew again, Jason King. I don't have the list in front of me. New Lady Bears player. I've already front Jamie. I've already forgot. It's been a long show. Thanks to everybody who's been involved. Mickey Spagnola, Keith Moreland. That's going to do it for us. Good night, everybody.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.